Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for coming out to the Higher Road podcast. My guest today is Daylan Alzamora. He is the president of the Republican chapter at the University of Utah. And I've spent the last few hours talking to this kid. He is full of passion, full of fire. He loves this country. His parents lived the American dream. They're Peruvian immigrants. They came from poverty and destitution and hardship. His mom raised herself up, lifted herself up, became a medical doctor at the University of Utah. His dad is a manager at a major retail location and has a very successful family. He has 5 brothers and sisters. He loves this country. He loves America. He loves the Republican Party. And he brought some things to light that I didn't realize, and he helped me see some things I could do better. We talked about some of the most important things that need to happen to change the course of America forever, and for politicians to be seen as people again, and to be transparent and to be real. And if a politician can do these 5 things, it will change the course of America forever. So the challenge today is Daylan the kind of man that walks the walk more than just talks the talk? And we'll find out in today's podcast. Thanks for coming.
Politics should be you represent your people. It should never be a game of worrying about getting elected again or worrying about how much money you're going to have.
They've gotten left and right to fight, and they have a house divided against itself.
Yeah.
Remember, the Republicans and the Democrats at the federal level are united.
You can't have freedom of speech on your own billboard. Yeah, you should probably start a grassroots movement from your entire city to get those people out because they're infringing on your freedom of speech.
But we've lost our way because of that indoctrination, because of that ideological subversion.
You know what? I love the fact that people have that mentality of I hate politicians, because you should hate every single politician. Politicians probably do not have your best interest in mind. They care about how much money they're going to raise and if they're going to win the next election.
No, Daylan, for real, man. I want to believe in a politician.
Yeah.
Or someone who goes out for politics.
Yeah.
And inevitably, you guys become corrupted.
Yeah.
You want money. You want power. And when I say you, this is anyone who goes into politics. And the swamp creature, the powers that be, everybody, all these politicians I've had on here, they're like, yeah, we spend 60, 70% of our time, they call it phone time.
Yeah.
Just raising money.
Yep.
And I get it, like you win with money.
Yeah.
But what about just boots on the ground, old school guerrilla tactics, door to door? And it's really hard because their populations are so much bigger. But could you imagine how inspiring that would be if you were just out there grinding, sweating in 100-degree heat in cold of winter, and you just didn't stop? Could you imagine the connection you would have to the people?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's like you bring to disagree with you would be a little dumb, because you're right. I would say maybe a good 90%, if not more than that, of politicians are 100% corrupt.
Uh-huh.
We've seen Nancy Pelosi gain millions of dollars, and her entire career, she's worth millions of dollars.
Hundreds of millions.
And
the Republicans do
Republicans too. I was about to say, even Republicans. But, and your solution is a great one. And this is why I'm not sure how aware you are of the caucus system in Utah. Do you know what this is?
I understand it, but I don't think anybody really understands it unless you want to be a politician or you're in politics. Mm-hmm. I think we all get it, but I would even say Utah's probably more educated on it too than other states.
I would agree.
Because in Kansas, I don't think I knew anybody that understood it.
Oh, no.
Break it down for everybody, though.
So the caucus system, or at least in Utah, well, what it is we go to a precinct level. So that's like your neighborhood of people, and every 2 years you go and you elect someone who's called the delegate. This can either be a county or state level delegate. County works more on more seriously local level stuff. Your city councilmen, your county council members, your state level delegate worries about getting those elected to federal offices, senator, governor, all that stuff. And so what happens is once these neighborhoods, these precincts meet up and they elect a delegate, this delegate now has the responsibility to meet the candidates one-on-one. And then at something called convention, they vote for who they should think should appear on the ballot.
So to pause just for a minute. So the easiest way to sum up a caucus is neighborhoods or communities
Yeah.
elect a delegate,
Yep.
and they have like a district that they represent.
Exactly.
And
then,
they
yep,
choose a delegate from that district.
exactly.
And that person is the majority. So if 60%
Yeah.
of the people out of 100 voted for that delegate, even though 40% hated him,
Yeah.
the majority of the people in that area
Yeah.
chose that person to
Yeah.
represent their voice
Represent that person for the party, for the Republican Party, the Democrat Party, etc.
in each district.
Yeah.
So each district would have a Republican candidate and a Democratic candidate.
delegate.
And then there's the Libertarians never win anything.
And then, yeah, I mean, in Utah, every single party has to go to convention, their own version of convention. So there is, you can't have a delegate for the Libertarian Party or the Constitutional Party,
Yeah.
whatever have you. But then they go to convention, and then whoever wins at convention ends up on the ballot, which I think is a really good solution for what you're arguing for. Because you're right, politicians should be agents of the people. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what they are. They should be responding to the people. I don't think there's a greater way of doing that than someone who's elected a delegate, and you have to literally be on a phone call with that person, and they're grilling you about questions. Delegates have a great responsibility, but I think a lot of it is just like you said in Kansas, people aren't involved anymore in local politics. 99% of the things that are important happen locally.
Why do you think nobody's involved?
A lot of it is, I think, it's time, but I think it's also a cultural problem of us just saying, you know what, let's just worry about what's going on with the president, what's going on with what's going on in Congress, and even then, people don't really know what's going on. But a lot of it is we have like this idea, this culture of we shouldn't really care about local politics, just care about whoever's in office, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, whatever have you. It's unfortunate, but I think a lot of the solutions that can be done with corrupt politicians or this boots on the ground type of work that you're talking about is done by getting involved locally.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Here's what I've seen.
Sure.
I grew up dirt poor in a trailer.
Yeah.
Most people are just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And they have made interacting with politicians and their agendas so difficult for people. You would think it would be easy.
Yeah.
But when you look up a government website, how hard is that to navigate when you're trying to find information? You're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
The average person, go try to build a house or look at how you can build a house on a
Sure.
government website.
Sure.
You're going to go through 10 million pages. It's never super organized. It's always out of date. Code isn't right. And then when you try to meet with politicians, they're always busy. They're always gone. It's like trying to meet with the CEO of Walmart or an executive from Amazon. Do you really ever get to meet with them? No, you get to meet with someone who's down the line, who's down the line, who's down the line from that. And then unless you have enough money for them to give a crap of what you think
Right.
or care about, or if you have enough social influence for them to care, the vast majority of people never even get to come to the table to have a conversation. And the majority of people who want to speak up, whose lives are hurting, like I watched my family growing up, I've been near bankruptcy a few times, you're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
Especially if you're more of a Republican mindset,
Yeah.
where you're like, I'm going to work hard, live the American dream, earn money to pay my bills. I don't want handouts. I don't want the government to do it for me. I'm going to earn my way through my life.
Yeah.
And with the cost of housing, I mean, think of the median income or median cost of a house in Utah is about $750,000. Median income for Utah is not even 60.
It's not.
You just, so if mom and dad both have a average paying job,
Yeah. It's hard to
working their butts off, they can't even afford a starter home. And that's by design. Because if you look at how the politicians work, if Republicans and Democrats agree on a topic, there's no real control.
Yeah.
But if you can get Republicans and Democrats to fight and yell at each other, those people are so easy to control. Donald Trump, I hate him. Orange man bad. I'm not saying I do. I hate things he does.
Yeah.
I voted for him.
Yeah.
Both times. And I'm super disappointed this time, by the way. He's a completely different candidate than the first time around. The swamp got him. I don't know what happened, but I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
And I was a hardcore advocate for Trump in the beginning. But the reality is people are hurting. People are broke. The cost of living is too high. They're working 2 jobs just to barely make ends meet. The cost of food is so expensive, putting gas in their car, all these things. And they're trying to raise kids. And all these things are surrounding them. And they're like, by the way, come to this meeting and watch all this, pumping themselves up and pounding a gavel and doing all this protocol and all these little things, and then you've got to wait for 2.5 hours for them to get the item that you're talking about. Dude, this guy's just trying to help get enough money working overtime to fix his kid's cavity.
Yeah.
That's why people don't get involved, because a lot of the younger kids I've had on here who are going into politics are like, well, you can just get involved.
Yeah.
You can just do it. Well, at your age, it's a much easier conversation.
For sure.
And the naivety of that statement when people say that when they come on, that you just get involved, be proactive, that's how my mind works. Our local government is super broken. I'm fighting with North Salt Lake City and UDOT right now. Yeah. Hey, take down your billboard. And they drew their line perfectly at an angle, and they're like, oh, your sign's been violating the road for 50 years. The sign's been there for 45, 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're trying to get out of it. And the city gave me what to build, told me, hey, this is what you can build. I built exactly what they said, where I said I was going to build it. They're like, oh, we didn't realize that. Well, it's your job to figure out if you're meeting the proper setbacks or not. I'm like, I built what you told me to build. Your job is to inspect and improve. We pulled the permits and did all the right things. So I talked to Sherry, the current city planner. She's like, oh, we gave you that billboard. We did that for you. We made exceptions for you. And you didn't come to meetings. And I was like, what? I didn't go to meetings. I didn't go to freaking meetings. Are you crazy?
It's crazy.
I went to the meetings, and when I went,
wow.
the 7 people on the city council unanimously voted no for me to put back the billboard that has been there for 40 years or 50 years. And I said, well, why?
Huh. Yeah.
What? I'm grandfathered in. The top part was there. The pole was there. They just didn't maintain, and the bottom part had been taken down.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm in a big soapbox here because I really want to dial this home.
Sure, yeah.
I go to another meeting. I would like to build this. And now Sherry, to her credit, wasn't there at the time. Unanimous vote no. And I said, what? I don't understand. Yeah. I said, if I'm in any way hurting the city financially or causing any harm, I'll shut down right now. I said, what I am doing, though, is I'm creating jobs. I'm remodeling one of your ugliest buildings in your entire city. I'm bringing in new business. I'm bringing in tax revenue. Yeah. I said, if you can say a single thing that I'm doing that doesn't benefit the people of your city and this state, I will walk away right now. Dead silent.
Nice. That's a good question.
Unanimous vote no.
Wow.
So I later found out that one of the major billboard companies I talked to one of the lobbyists. Yeah. Somebody had said, oh, you might talk to this lobbyist. Maybe they can give you some information. And they said, yeah, some of the major billboard companies are the top contributors to politicians in Utah. So, interesting.
Right.
So, fast forward. They then say, and then I say, well, I'm going to keep fighting. I'm not going to give up. I hire Curtin and McConkey because they fought for billboards before, a big law firm. Yeah. I have to fight the city, spend tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours, meeting after meeting after meeting, to wrap it all up. After all that work and all that time, do you want to know why I got approved? Cool. Because I had a lawyer help me get through the paperwork they tried to bury me with that was so overwhelming. Yeah. And I packed the courtroom full of people and businesses and people in the community that wanted to clean up an ugly building and bring in jobs and tax revenue. There was no negative. Yeah. And the only thing that changed was that the courtroom was almost full to overflowing. Yeah, okay. It was packed to the back. Yeah. Guess what happened on the next vote? What? By the way, in one of those meetings, on record, the city said, one of the city council members said, yeah, but if he gets a billboard, we have to deal with his freedom of speech, and he can put things up on that billboard. And the city attorney looked at him like he was crazy and said, he was talking to me, he said, no, you have the freedom of speech. Yeah. You can put up there what you want. Yeah. I was being defended by their attorney because they were annoyed that I could put free speech and free press on my own billboard. Yeah. That was part of their hesitation. Obviously, he said it. Right. And that next meeting, guess what happened? What? 6 out of 7 people voted yes, and the person who voted no retired within a month or two. Wow. The only thing that changed is a lot of angry people in a courtroom. Yeah. yes, it happens at a local level, but it's just super hard. I've been fighting with North Salt Lake City and Layton City. It is really hard to get past their gatekeepers and even the local bureaucracy.
Yep.
So, what's your solution to all of that?
Well, I think there's, I don't think you're going to like one of my answers, and the other one you may like, and it's one that I've been thinking about, is I'm going to give you the one you may like, and that is just simply increase the amount of representatives we have. I have seen this talked about plenty of times with most people.
So, instead of one delegate, 2 or 3 per district?
Not even that. It's just like increasing just in general how many state representatives there are in Utah or how many House. Just so, because the reality is that every single elected official does have to do a lot, and that just doesn't come as a surprise. I mean, what we have 480 something representatives throughout the whole entire U.S. There's this. I forgot exactly what the name of the formula is, but it says that the cube root of whatever the population is how many representatives we have. The U.S. should have roughly 850.
The what root?
The cube root. So it's just what number would be multiplied 3 times to equal the population.
Oh, okay.
And it's roughly 850 people should be in the House of Representatives right now to maybe give every single person or a equal
Yeah, that
voice.
definitely makes me very nauseous.
Which, right, exactly. Right, once you increase that, now the question is how effective would it be? Well, we're not meant to have an effective government. But then we also run into the problem of, will it increase the bureaucracy? Because my general disagreement with it is, maybe that's true. We could increase the amount of people, but does that also mean increasing the bureaucracy? Imagine how many people how many more people are working for every single representative, and it becomes a mess. Now, I do agree with you, and my other answer is, unfortunately, we live in a system that has high bureaucracy, and we just have to cut it down. That's the solution that I think most conservatives are going to give you, is we got to limit the bureaucracy, and I'm completely
less big
for
government,
that.
yeah.
Exactly. It's just, I do believe that the government is involved in too many ways in life, and it's an answer that I will stand by. But I think that your idea is not wrong. There's plenty of people. There are millions of people out there who maybe want to get involved, but like you said, are too busy. There are people who are working their butts off, and people who are literally fighting for this country in their own ways. The farmer, the doctor, the single mom, the single dad, whatever have you. All facets of life. But I believe that one of the biggest things, one of the greatest, what's the word I'm looking for? Duties that every single person has in America is to be engaged in their politics. There was, back when the United States was first formed and shortly after the French Revolution, there was this philosopher called Alexis de Tocqueville. He came...
Say the name again.
Alexis de Tocqueville. He wrote Democracy in America, arguably one of the greatest analyses of American democracy at the time. Right, we're in a republic, but that's what, first time that someone's seen a system of government where officials are elected. So he comes here, and he realizes that although everyone has their own things, people are worried about what they're working for, people are looking at what they're doing, and they're more focused on themselves, and not everyone is the brightest person, everyone still gathers around their sense of community and their sense of politics. And that's what makes them, the United States, so unique. And he was writing that back in the 1800s, in the 18th century. And so it is very hard for that person who is working all the time and doesn't have the time to do all this. But I believe, honestly, and I'm not going to sit here and say that every single person can get involved right now. Like you said, that's very naive of me to say that every single person has the ability to just say, I'm going to go run for city council. I'm going to go do this position, this, that.
Yeah, my mom was a single mom for a time. And
exactly.
they're just
not going to have
She was just literally
Yeah.
pulling her body out of the bed,
Exactly.
working,
Yeah.
taking care of the kids, getting us off to school, doing everything that she could just to literally survive.
Yeah, exactly.
Single moms and single dads are rock stars.
I completely agree. I that's for sure something we see. But I think that, or someone who has been engaged, as someone who is young and is active in my city and my county, many people have the same complaints as you do. Many people complain about the bureaucracy. They complain about not being able to maybe want to build their home in a certain way or do whatever they want with their property, or they just want to get something done through the city or the government, and they just can't. And 99% of the time, their problem is with the government, right? Every single time it's, I just don't like the barriers that I have to deal with. I don't like that I have to deal with that person. And it's well, guess what? As much as you can complain. There is something you can do about it, and that is go vote. It, you know, you have the ability and the opportunity in this country, as long as you're a citizen, to be able to go vote for who you believe will run the country best. And this is why I believe that the caucus system does a great job, because it forces people to have to meet the candidates face to face, and makes it so people have to be hold their elected official accountable. Now in Utah, we've had significant ways to circumvent the caucus system, and I can go into a whole rant about SB 54. But really, one of the biggest things that I've realized is you have to be involved locally. Like, say 99% of the problems we deal with every single day, except for maybe our gas prices now because of this Iran war,
our gas prices, food, agriculture, our education system,
exactly.
That's all federal.
Well, education and agriculture is mostly local, but
they mandate it though at a federal level, what you have, so the state can say yay or nay on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But the federal government sure pushes a lot of that agenda on us, and they withhold funds.
Yeah.
They have a lot of power because it's like, oh, we can fix it locally. Yeah, you can fix it, but you don't get the money.
Well, and I think that's a problem of government, right? That's a problem of the federal government eroding the federalist government that we have of states' rights. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's necessarily something. I think that's something that states should stand up for.
So let's go down your path.
Sure.
I believe in less big Washington D.C. bureaucracy overlord. Because I mean, think about it. Have you seen the movie The Hunger Games?
I have, yeah.
How is Washington D.C. any different than the Capitol, and how are we any different than the districts? You have an emperor, so to speak, right, or President Snow, and then you have and then you have all the elected officials, right? Your senators, your Congress officials. Yeah. And what do? They go to lavish galas. Yeah. They wear fancy gowns and clothing. They go to feasts. Yeah. They ride on private jets and yachts and wine and dine. Mm-hmm. But none of them are actually producing, or the vast majority of them actually don't produce anything. They're parasites. Yeah. Sure. I mean, literally, their relationship is parasitic. Mm-hmm. They create nothing. They only take from the people who create.
Sure.
So while they feast, children starve all throughout the country. Mm-hmm. While they go on these private jets and private boats and Martha's Vineyard and their crazy, balls and dances, people are struggling to make rent. Mm-hmm. People are struggling to keep their lights on, while their children are getting the best health care in the entire world.
Sure. Top
physicians, top care. They're moved to the top of the list, even a 90-year-old person. And people all across this country are struggling to pay their insurance, to keep the lights on, to keep their home warm in times of winter and cold. Mm-hmm. And these are real things that are happening. I've talked to these people. Yeah. And these politicians, they're so out of touch with reality.
I would agree.
And the vast, vast majority of them are crazy wealthy.
Yeah.
And because they use that wealth and that power that they've accumulated, and then they go into politics. And here's the craziest part. A lot of them don't even go into politics with tons of money. They're better off than most. They're wealthy.
That's true.
But then, like you were saying earlier, Nancy Pelosi's worth a fortune.
Yep.
Obama's worth a fortune, but I can name a million. Ted Cruz, I mean, on and on. Rand Paul and him and his dad, the Bushes, all kinds of corruption, big oil, big money, big ag, big pharma, and they're all beholden to the system. So let me back up. So sure. I agree. So let's just look at the federal government. It is completely broken. And it is irreversible as far as I'm concerned.
Sure.
The vast majority of us feel that way. You want to know why I believe this way?
Yeah, why?
The Bushes were in power. What Democrats really were held accountable and went to jail? The Clintons were in power. Yeah. What Republicans went to jail? Trump was in power. Who went to jail?
Yeah.
Who was held accountable? Biden was in office. What Republicans went to jail?
Yeah.
Who were held accountable? Trump is back in office. We control the House. We control the Senate. We control the presidency, right? Mm-hmm. Executive, legislative, and judicial. We control everything. We control the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Who's been held accountable? Who's gone to jail?
Yeah. Well,
it's fully broken.
Yeah, I would agree.
Fully corrupt. So, how do you propose You get average, everyday, beautiful, hardworking moms and dads involved in politics. When that's what we're up against, we're broke.
Yeah.
And when we try to get involved and we try to do something good, that's what we deal with.
Yeah. I hate that I'm going to turn this back on you, but why don't you get involved? I mean, you've dealt with this for a long time. Why don't you maybe say, I want to get involved in city council?
Short answer, I don't have the temperament.
You're good. Okay.
I don't think I do. I just don't.
Yeah, okay.
I grew up, I fought with my stepdad, and we fought all my life, and he was a bully. I fought with, and we moved a bunch because we were poor. I fought and beat up the bully, and then I was always made sure nobody else got bullied. I hate bullies.
Okay, yeah.
And politicians are essentially, the vast majority of them are bullies.
Yeah.
Because they use their power to get what they want. And I don't see a lot of good coming, not from all. Whenever you speak in a rash generalization, you're never accurate.
Sure.
But I don't know if I would have the temperament, because if they talked about my wife or my children, I'd probably crawl over the table and punch them in the mouth. And then I'd end up, but that would be my honest concern. I actually think I'd end up in jail.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I could do my duty and try to be more temperamental, but where I want to find someone, I understand what my strengths and what my weaknesses are.
Sure, yeah.
So that's why I'm so earnest about finding a politician that I can support, that doesn't have my baggage in my mind. And this is why I don't yell at my children. I don't hit my children, never have hit my children for anything, because I got a really intense temper deep down.
Yeah, okay.
And so if I know that, then you got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And so finding a good man or a good woman that I can truly put my support behind and truly say, hey, I really believe that this is the real thing. I met some decent people on this pod, but man, the vast majority, their answer is usually like yours, a little more government, or you need to get more involved. No, I'm like, you know what? That's all a load of horse crap. I'm just sick of hearing it. What I want to hear is, why are you different?
Yeah.
What can you do that's different that's going to make a change for the rest of us? Yeah. I'm doing my part by doing a podcast I was really afraid to do, and putting myself out there. One of my biggest fears is to become famous. Yeah. Like, I love anonymity. I love quiet. Yeah. I grew up dirt poor in a trailer with tens of thousands of acres, not even our land. Yeah. We had 10 acres, and we were tiny all around us. And it was super quiet. And it was peaceful. Yeah. Well, except in my home. That part sucked a lot. But, yeah, man, I want to do my part. Yeah. I want to help. And I've thought about it, but every time I think about it, I just feel so disgusting, and I also don't feel like that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, okay, yeah. No, I mean, everything you said, and you've probably heard it a million times, is just get them out. Just vote differently, right? That's probably what you've heard.
It doesn't work.
And
they get the swamp protects itself. They come back.
Yeah, it for sure does. And so
vote them out. Trump was in. Vote him out. Biden was in. Vote him out. Bushes are in. Vote him out. Clinton's. I'm all over. I'm not in my proper time frame. Yeah. What changed?
Yeah. So I think the reason that I believe that we see this with so many people, and maybe you many people feel this way, I don't think this is an uncommon stance. I think most people hate our government. Most people hate our bureaucracy and everything to do with it.
We just hate what it's become.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Right. We're not here to say I don't want a government. We're here to say we hate the fact that it doesn't serve the people. Yeah. We hate the fact that it doesn't do what we want it to do.
Yeah, some government is good. It's beautiful.
So, exactly. So and so the reason I believe that it comes down to us getting more involved is because you might not know this, but around the nation, local elections and off years, so when either non-midterm or non-presidential, or midterms and non-presidential years, local participation in politics is less than 20%.
Yeah, I was going to say 15 to 20%.
It's 20%. Yeah. Nationwide average. Presidential elections get 60% of the vote of registered voters. Midterm elections get 40%. As much as you're right, I tend to push back because I disagree that every single person is going to become bad. I think that if you are truly engaged as a community and as a group of people, if we had upwards to 90% of participation in every single election across the board, local, midterm, and presidential elections, I completely and wholeheartedly could look at you in the eyes and tell you I am certain that we would not have as much corruption as we have in there, because that requires people who are actually engaged politically.
Even if you had, I love that statement, and I agree with you completely. Even if we had 40%, even if you had 50% of the people involved, you would elicit change at a much greater level than we are now.
Exactly.
The problem is the power, the sword, the stick, whatever you want to call it, that they wield at the federal level and that the politicians here in Utah wield and in every state is so big and so powerful and so heavy. One, most people can't lift it.
I completely agree.
Two, the people don't understand how to use it. Three, they don't even know when they're pulling this massive power sword out to take over everything, because they do things at the midnight hour. They write 700 or 1,700 page bills and articles.
Yep. No,
So you want to hear my solutions?
Sure. Go ahead.
Well, no, I don't want to give mine yet. What is your solution to get the local people involved more?
A lot of it has got to be a change in culture, I think. And it's, I would love personally for people to have your same mentality, to say, yeah, I hate politicians. Go ahead. You know what? I love the fact that people have that mentality of I hate politicians, because you should hate every single politician. Politicians probably do not have your best interest in mind. They care about how much money they're going to raise and if they're going to win the next election. That's the truth. Whether they're going to win and keep their job, or if they have enough money. I am perfectly okay with people having that mentality, but it's what you do with that mentality that matters. Because if you're just going to sit back and now lay back and you're just going to say, man, I hate that politician.
Yeah,
and
couch
I'm not
warrior.
going to vote. Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not getting anything done. I would rather have people who have that exact energy and go get that person out of office. If you see someone in your local city government who, like you said, is completely terrible, or 6 of the 7 are telling you that you can't have freedom of speech on your own billboard, and you have to have someone from the city defend you, yeah, you should probably start a grassroots movement from your entire city to get those people out, because they're infringing on your freedom of speech. That's bipartisan. That's not something that I'm going to tell you from left to right. That is a bipartisan thing to say you deserve freedom of speech.
Yeah, I could have done better there. I think that's a good comment. Also, it was hard.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had spent so much money just trying to win what was rightfully mine, and spent all that time fighting with them when I was trying to rebuild a building. I was negative income. And so everybody has an excuse.
Sure, yeah.
And I don't want to rely on that. I'm really, if you want it bad enough, you could have found a way. And that's the reality. If I wanted it bad enough, I could have found a way. But then my family life would have suffered. That's the reality of it. But guess what? Everybody's family life is suffering anyway, because we're not involved enough.
Exactly, and I would completely agree.
What you said is true. I definitely could do better and worked hard to get these people out. Yeah, I didn't think about it at the time of going after those people, because I think what happens for especially a lot of Republicans. Yeah. And I lean more right. Yeah. But I'm a conservative libertarian is what I would call it.
I think I know like that.
And I vote Republican on a lot of issues because unfortunately the libertarian aspect doesn't usually win anything.
Right. Yeah. I get what you mean.
And yeah, it's really hard to understand what to do. I understood what to do to win the billboard case by affecting. And at the time, here's the more honest answer. I didn't know I could do that. I was just trying to survive.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
And win the billboard. My mind didn't even think about getting someone out of office.
Yeah.
But what I realized after is that's why they voted in my favor, because they thought they might not get reelected because of the negative light I was showing on their political power, so to speak. And so looking back in hindsight, yeah, for sure, that's actually a great idea.
Yeah, it is. And I say that because as someone who has been involved, and I may be young, but I know so many people, and I work at my local city. I work at the local level a lot. People have the exact same complaints you do. You said you've brought people on who have that complaint, or people who have similar stories. I do too. Every single time it's, look at what the government's done. They're not caring about me. But guess what? Take that energy and use it.
I love your passion, by the way. I love your passion.
Thank you.
It's some of the most intense passion. I actually love it. Yeah. Because that's really what we need.
Yeah.
But if you can use that energy and that power for good.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Answer honestly.
I will.
Would you, and this is so I'll give you my solutions.
Sure.
And then you say, yes, I would do that, or I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Here's my solutions. Back in the day, becoming a politician was a service They
Sure.
were farmers, they were doctors,
Yeah.
and they weren't really looking to get rich. They were
Yeah.
looking to heal and help their country
Yeah.
and their fellow countrymen and women.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Fair?
For sure.
Okay. So the median income of whatever state you represent should be the cap on a politician's salary.
That's a beautiful idea.
Would you agree with that or
yeah.
disagree?
Oh, 100%. I 100% agree with that. And that's not even something I would probably take, because guess what? As someone who's involved locally, I could give a crap what I make. I hear so many complaints from people in my neighborhood, the people I know. I would rather serve them honestly than make millions of dollars. And I don't care if that means passing a transparency law. That means every single one of my donors is out in the open, and I have to send it to every single one of my constituents. Politics should be you represent your people. It should never be a game of worrying about getting elected again or worrying about how much money you're going to have.
Okay, so number 2. A politician cannot write a book, cannot create a business,
Yeah.
cannot work with lobbyists, cannot raise campaign funds of any kind once they're in office.
I guess I would have to say no, only for the raising the campaign funds part. I believe that is a bit more
But those are the deals where the corruption happens.
It is. But I think that, and this is never going to happen, this is now me being too idealistic, is let's pass a transparency law. Right? Just say, you know what, any and all funds you get from someone has to be publicized somewhere.
Sure.
And I that's never going to happen.
But even if that, isn't that a law or is it not?
I'd have to double check.
I thought you have to have transparency.
But some do.
I think business has to be.
I think that's what it is. But if it's
here's
individuals,
the thing.
no.
If you're running to
might be wrong.
represent the country, let me just
Sure,
explain why.
Sure.
Because we know the what I'm going to say. I don't want to say mindset. I'm struggling with the right word. But we know this.
Yeah.
Whoever raises the most money typically wins the election.
Sure. And it shouldn't be that way, but
95% of the time. Is that a fair comment?
that's fair enough, yeah.
Okay. So if we know that, and whoever raises the most money wins, then guess what you have to do? You have to get to know your people.
Yeah.
You have to interact with
For
the
sure.
people in your community at such
Yeah.
a high level.
Yeah, yeah.
Guess what? Now that 60-70% of phone time and raising funds, you're not doing
It's the
that. You're
people.
talking to your people.
Yeah.
You're out among the people and you're getting to know them. You're spending time next to them.
Yeah.
And you're hearing the stories that I've heard of a mom and dad crying because their kid is dying because they can't afford to fix the child's heart.
And so I agree. I completely agree. And I think our difference are in our solution to some extent is, I wouldn't say we have to ban those, but I would say we keep them, but we enforce the caucus system nationwide. You enforce it no matter what.
So unpack that in a couple of paragraphs. Keep it as simple as you can.
You make it so that every single state, every single county, and every single city has to have a delegate who has to talk to the candidate. If you do that and you make it so there's only one way to win, which is at convention, right? You have to get 50% plus one of the vote for that person to end up on the ballot. Then you are forced, the candidate is forced to talk to the people who are, or the delegates who are elected by their neighbors. That, to me, is the solution to too much money. In Utah, we have completely failed with SB 54, which circumvents the
I
caucus
don't know what
system.
SB 54 is.
So SB 54 was passed in 2014, and what it was is a measure. So in Utah, prior to that, the only way you could be on the ballot is if you won at convention. So you would only get the Republican nominee if you won at convention for any position. Same thing for the Democrat, Libertarian, whatever have you. But once SB 54 was passed, as long as you got 7,000 signatures from anywhere in the state, it doesn't even have to be from your own district or county or city, you can appear on the ballot. You fundamentally, and you can get paid signatures, by the way. It doesn't limit anything. It just says as long as you get to 7,000. You can pay from outside of state funds to get those signatures, and you completely circumvent the method of forcing people to talk to their neighbors, to the delegates. That, to me, is a serious problem. In Utah, I know many people in the caucus system who no longer trust the caucus system because of the ability to go from just straight to circumvent it. To me, is if you only have the straight line where you have to have convention and win at convention to have that representative, it doesn't matter how much money you pour in. Because guess what? No matter how much money that person spends on ads, it's how many of the delegate votes can they get at convention. So to me, I am perfectly okay with people being able to raise as much money as they can as long as we have the caucus system.
Okay. I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Yeah.
It basically, you're just saying eliminate the loophole.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's all it is.
Okay. Number 3. So let's finish with number 2.
Go ahead.
Number 2, you can't write a book.
Yeah.
You cannot raise campaign funds. You cannot create a company. You can't do any of those things, because if you choose to go into politics, it used to be our founding fathers. It used to be an act of service to God, country, and family.
Yep.
God, family, and country.
Yeah. It's true.
So could you get your mind wrapped around that if you were to get elected?
Yeah, I guess if we're giving the parameters that we're given now, sure, but I would prefer my method that we just discussed.
Okay. So yes to part of it, not all of it.
Yeah.
You want to still be able to raise campaign funds.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like that, but we'll continue.
It's fair.
No, well, and I appreciate you answering honestly. Yeah. Number 3, when there is a bill or a law passed, it has to be posted, and everybody in the entire district, we have AI, we have crazy fast lightning speed internet that everyone, for the most part, has access to.
Yeah.
Everybody should get a notification. Yeah. It should be sent to their email, bumped to the top, some form of priority, bumped to the top of all their emails. Yeah. And they get an email notifying them of every law and every bill. And then here's the second part of that. Every law and every bill, if it cannot fit on a single page, double-spaced, then it doesn't happen. All if you can't explain something on a double-spaced page, let's say, and even if we went up to 3 pages, just to give it a little bit more room, but 1,800 pages, thousands of pages, what? Of course. Yeah. And nobody reads it, nobody can, and that's all by design. Yeah. They do that locally, they do it at the federal level. Yeah, it's so overwhelming. So imagine, they're going to pass a bill. What's this bill? Yeah. Everybody check your email. You know that this day, the bills are passed on this specific day or brought to the House or Senate, whatever. And then you get an email. It's bumped automatically to the top. And all the people have access to that bill, and they can read it in real time. Sure. And it's single-spaced, 1 to 3 pages.
That's great. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Do you know how much corruption that alone would eliminate?
Oh, that would probably eliminate 95% of it.
Just pure transparency.
Okay, that's all it is.
Here's the other thing. Okay, so you're good on that. So you're batting pretty good. You're not all the way there. Number 4. Number 4, super easy. Transparency. Yeah. All your meetings, if you were meeting with anything to do with my country, our country, it's televised. Okay. It's recorded. There's no tactics. What tactics do you need? Yeah. You're an American who loves America, who's representing Americans. Yeah. What do you need to hide? What needs to be behind closed doors?
My question is this: do you mean like foreign level politics, or is this anything, any meetings?
All meetings.
Any and all meetings. Okay.
Yeah. If you're choosing to you don't have to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But you're choosing to represent us. Yeah. Why do we not get to hear 70% of the conversations when you're choosing to represent us? Yeah. Did you choose to represent us or not?
Yeah, I would. I mean, yeah, I think I would agree with that. I mean,
it doesn't mean you're not going to have other conversations.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
No, but when you're acting as a political representative for me, for our country, for the men and women of Utah and America, why would you not make it super transparent in every word, every action? And we have to, as people too, learn grace and be better about not wanting to lynch every imperfection. Because all of us wouldn't survive.
Oh yeah, probably not. No, but I'd completely agree with that. I mean, I think the transparency is a huge part of it. If we could just make it so every single person had access or the equal accessibility to everything that politicians do, half of them wouldn't be in office.
Okay. Last is, and you might like this, you might not. I don't necessarily think term limits are the solution.
I don't think so either.
Because all they do is pass the torch to the next corrupt person.
Well, not even that. The biggest problem with term limits is it's a bureaucratic nonsense. I mean, think about it this way, right? Let's take you're running for office. You run. Let's say your term limit's 6 or let's say 8 years, right? So 4 total terms. And then the person who was your bureaucrat, maybe who worked in your office, knows you, says, you know what, I'm going to run because I represented his politics. Well, now you're having a revolving door of those in the bureaucracy and those who are representative.
Yeah.
And that is significantly worse.
Well, it's just like George Carlin said, it's a big club and you're not in it.
Yeah. Oh,
exactly. It's just the same people doing the same thing.
Exactly. So
again, my point, all these Republicans and Democrats are in office. Yeah. They create this beautiful display of tug of war. It's going back and forth. Yeah. The passing of the torch, the power balance is going. Okay, who goes to jail for their corruption? Yeah, exactly. What really happens?
Yeah.
And and that's what I keep telling people. Do you really think it's changed? I said, who's gone to jail?
Yeah.
Who's been held accountable? Children are starving. People are dying.
Exactly.
People are becoming homeless. Yeah. America is struggling. Who is being held accountable? Or are people getting richer at the political and corporate level? And I'm all for capitalism.
Yeah.
I'm all for it, but not monopolies.
Yeah.
I'm not for political and bureaucratic bullies and tyrants that rule over us, just like the freaking Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do to a district, or what do you do to a person that challenges the Capitol? What they'll do to me? Yeah. Oh, Josh Patel, you know what he is? He's a bad guy. He's a tax evader. He hurts women. He hurts children. They say the same things. They did it to Trump. They did it to right when he was running more.
Everybody. Yeah.
He was much more the God his first term. Did you notice that, by the way?
For sure. 2016.
God, and now this new Trump, this new version, the system got to him.
Oh, for sure.
Bongino, nothing. Pam Bondi, nothing. Yeah, Kash Patel, nothing. Trump said, I'm going to do these things. Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. We're not going to go to war. Going to war.
Yeah.
Right? So the system, and it's so overwhelming for me to even stay on task. I'm kind of a scatterbrained anyway. But it's so much to talk about.
It is.
And so, again, when you're just trying to work 9 to 5 and do the basics, and you're saying get involved at this level. So let's move on.
Sure.
Before I jump back into that, because I'll jump on another soapbox.
Yeah.
Number 5. I'm okay with no term limits. Yeah. Let's keep you in office.
Same with me.
But your pay, the median income, or let's say what a teacher's salary is, because they're some of the most important people in our communities, shaping our children's future. My mom was a teacher.
Oh, that's awesome.
When you're done, you've chosen a life of service, not luxury.
I completely agree.
And so if that's the case, I'm even okay for your time of service. You get some form of retirement. Let's say you've done it for 20 years.
I think that's what it is now.
But if it's good enough for our men and women in the military who are sacrificing limbs, literally, their body, their mind, their spirit, and coming home broken and dying, or not coming home at all, right, dying, or coming home mutilated for this country.
Yeah.
And after they've done it for 20 years, all they get is 50%.
Yeah.
And after 30 years, 75%. Why can't that be the same for a politician?
It's fine with me.
So now, guess what? You've just taken the money out of politics.
Sure. And it becomes significantly more unappealing for a lot more people.
For pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
You go into politics to get rich, not to serve.
Exactly. And I think that's what it should be. I think that
money and power.
Yeah, exactly. We've completely just ruined the position. It's now something of, I want to become a politician because I want the luxury. I want the life. That's not what it should be ever.
Yes.
And this is why I'm so critical, and this is why I tell you so much is hate politicians. I'm so on board with people.
Well, hate what they represent.
No, that's what I'm saying is hate them for the fact that they don't represent you correctly or because they're voting on bills that you don't like. Do that. But go get them out. Go get a community of people who don't like them. Go get them out.
So walk me through, and
sure,
the caucus system, I get it, but it also has loopholes and flaws, right?
Not.
Well, you said the 56. What
SB 54 was
SB 54, yeah.
Yeah, so that was passed, and again, that just makes it so no matter what the result at convention is, you can still end up on the ballot, and win. We've seen that happen numerous times now since 2014. And so, again, that introduces corruption just by itself. Because if you eliminate the representative part of it, where you actually have to talk to your delegates and the people who you're supposed to represent, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I can just pay $50,000 for some random company outside the state of Utah to get me 7,000 signatures at minimum to put me on the ballot. I don't care.
See, now imagine a politician. So think of the 5 rules I've said.
Sure.
Now imagine a politician who does those things, and instead of 70% of their time is phone time raising capital, imagine if they're meeting with the people and schools, these great, like here in Bountiful, another great example, the city manager, the people there, the people of Bountiful said, we have potholes, we have broken infrastructure, we have sidewalks and all kinds of things that need tons of help. And the city official said, well, we want an $8 million new city building or whatever. And the people said, no, you have one that's fine. They're like, well, it's not big enough and it's not nice enough. It did the job. They just wanted more room. Tons of people were against it. Well, this is not a public matter. This is a private matter. And we have decided that we need an $8 million new building.
That's pretty bad.
But our education system is broken. Our health system is broken.
Yeah, exactly.
Our infrastructure is failing. So I have all these young guns like you guys come on here, and you have altruistic mindsets.
For sure.
And you have good hearts. And I really do believe that. I don't believe that you're young enough to where you haven't been corrupted yet. You haven't been around evil long enough. There's a reason, though, a lot of people who hang around evil things long enough, eventually that darkness gets on you or in you. Right? You can't play with fire without eventually getting burned at some point.
Sure.
And you're not playing with fire, you're standing in it.
Right.
It's just a matter of time. What would you say is the number one reason that people should choose you as a representative for them in this state? You're a Republican.
Yeah.
Why should they choose you?
In a hypothetical where I could run. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't until you're 21?
That's 24.
Oh, 24.
If I'm
okay.
not wrong. But it's simple. I mean, one of the biggest ones is I have seen what's going on. I am someone who's been involved with the Utah GOP now for maybe 2 years, a little less. I have seen the amount of people who are completely disheartened from politics the way you are, who are completely detached or who feel as if their politician is detached from what they should represent. I have seen the corruption going on at the state level. There's no doubt about it.
Like what corruption have you seen?
There's massive scandals going on with Governor Cox. There's things going on with.
Oh, what a douchebag that guy
is.
He's such a rhino.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of things in Salt Lake County. I've seen so many people as a young conservative, who I would say I pride myself in being a true small government, representative government, free market conservative. I have seen so many people in office today who do not fit the description of a true conservative. I don't care about party lines or populist politics. I mean true conservative values of limited government and free market policies. I've been involved and I have seen what's gone on, and I completely and wholeheartedly believe that politics is a game of servitude. It's not a game of money. It's not a game of you do what you want to do to maintain your job. It's you serve the people. And this has come from, I might be a college student, but this has come from me reading a myriad of books of political theorists, all the way from Plato, who said, we should have a king of sorts, but it should be a righteous king. That's how he called it. A righteous despot is what he called it. I would never go as far as to say we should just need a king, but
I'm not opposed to that if there's accountability.
That's the thing, is the battle of politics is always what can be done and what can't be done, what you want to be done and what can't be done. And then also at the same time is, how can you make sure that the person who's getting into power is someone who deserves to represent you? That person who's smart enough, articulate enough, or whatever category you believe is best representative for that person. The only way I believe that we can do that truthfully in today is I would push this. And that's if our politics 20 years from now were today, transparency laws. I don't care if that means I'm unpopular, if that means I get a bunch of lobbyists against me. I am fully on board with what you said about Rule 4 and 5 and 1 and 2. The 3 is the only one I'm against, but the transparency is everything.
So you're betting 80%.
Yeah. The transparency is everything to me. If people don't know who your donors are, if people don't know what's going on in your personal life, or people don't know what businesses you own, or who's talking to you, who's not talking to you, you don't deserve to be in politics.
And you don't want to actually be in politics, because if you want to be in politics, it's a life of service,
exactly,
and a life of transparency and integrity. Yeah. That's what you're supposed to represent.
Exactly.
The values of the people you represent.
Yeah.
and your values and your life. You're choosing, as hard as it is, you're choosing a life that's going to be on display.
Exactly.
And guess what? If that were the case, I'll bet you a lot more people
It would be a lot different.
would try to get into, a lot less people who shouldn't go into politics wouldn't even try.
Exactly.
And a lot more people who are afraid,
Yeah.
they would actually try and come forward because, yeah, I've been a good person.
Yeah.
I've lived a good life. I have had maybe, the only things I've ever had legally in my life is maybe a couple of speeding tickets.
Yeah.
I've had 911 on the phone going 120 miles an hour chasing a guy who was punching the girl that was in the car with him, and I was the third call that day, and I was driving after him, and I wasn't able to get him.
Yeah.
And I've gone into North Carolina. I heard somebody beating on a lady, and a giant dude in the house down there, and I went in. Maybe I was gonna die.
Yeah.
But you have to try to do good.
Yeah. Exactly.
You just, there's a duty as a child of God. There's a duty as a man. There's a duty to be a protector and to be a provider.
Yeah.
And sometimes that requires you to be uncomfortable and be injured and collateral damage for the cause of good.
Yeah, and I would completely agree. I think, yeah, we have completely ruined, I think, what it means to be a politician. It should, for sure.
And to be a man.
That's true. That's a big part of it. We have to ensure that those who are getting into politics are people who are actually going to serve the needs of the people and not their own personal interests, and just try to get wealthy or make sure that their job is secure.
Men of honor, men of integrity.
Exactly.
And women.
Well, that's what our founders wanted. Our
Yes.
founders wanted men of, it was Thomas Jefferson who said, if the government if people were so righteous, then we wouldn't even need a government, because nobody would break any laws. Your inalienable rights would be always protected because no one would break them.
Yeah.
But you need politics. You need the government. But whoever gets into power has to be someone who's actually truly vetted, and like you said, someone who's going to serve the people.
Well, and I want to say this to back up. Or not back up, but I want to be very clear. One of my favorite bosses I've ever had was a woman. Her name was Shannon when I worked at Shoeback Jeweler. She was a fantastic boss.
Yeah.
Integrity, hardworking, super sharp.
Yeah.
And I want my boy and my girls to all know that any of them can serve with honor and do this kind of thing if it's what they choose. Now, I feel very grateful that they don't want to get involved in this world because of the kind of life that it tends to drag people into. That being said, I am open to it, and you're the first person that made me more open to politics.
Yeah.
But I also understand but when I think about doing it, it just makes me feel so disgusting. And for my, what would be kind of interesting, just to go off topic for a minute.
Yeah.
Imagine if you chose to be in politics, you had a house and a car provided for you from the people.
Okay.
So you didn't have to worry about a house. You didn't have to worry about a car. And you had your median income. So, because I'm trying to make it not this lucrative, crazy thing, but you just drove a practical car.
Yeah.
You lived in a house that was big enough for your family. If you have 5 kids, you get a 5-bedroom house.
Yeah.
Or they get bunk beds.
Yeah.
Right, a life of service. But just imagine that the basic necessities of life are provided for you, and that if you're a good politician, that over every year, or let's say every 3 years or 10 years, that you serve with honor, with integrity, you get to have some form of retirement built for you. And then your life would literally be a life of service, and your reward would be, because you served with honor and you were a good person, man or woman, that we as a people take care of you for the rest of your life. I would be honored to write those checks to those kind of politicians. I would be thrilled. That would probably be the first person, if they really serve with that kind of distinction and honor, that might be one of the first people where I would ask for an autograph, just because of the power of that, the kind of human that they are, the life that they lived.
Well, and I'm glad. So, just a quick anecdote too is, as someone who's engaged politically locally, I'm the chapter chair of the College Republicans at the University of Utah. I promise you, some of the best leaders that I have seen rise through the ranks at my chapter, those who are my right-hand men or women, are those who have the same mentality like you. I didn't want to get involved. I don't want to. I hate it. I hate that life. It's corrupt. It's terrible. Those people end up being the best at that job. And this is not to encourage you anymore, but maybe to think about it is you are going into it with your own personal experiences, with these own ideas, and you're taking that energy, but you have to culminate it somewhere. It has to go into something. Those folks that I know who are just college students who are getting involved, they said enough is enough. I'm going to get involved and I'm going to do something about it. Now those folks are delegates, like I was telling you. They're in positions to vet candidates to put them in office. They're in positions now at my campus and they're actively going out and talking to people. They're going and changing minds actively every single day because they're so fed up with what they see. And it's always the people, genuinely what I've realized, always the people who don't want to do it, who sometimes are the best at it. Seriously, every single time you do this.
This is what my friends say to me all the time, is that this is why it has to be you. Because you want, being famous makes me nauseous.
Yeah.
I don't want to have power over your life. I want to empower your life so you are the superstar and the hero in your own story. Yeah. I don't want you to want my autograph. Then I've failed. If you want my autograph, no, I want you to live a life where you're the main character in your book. You're the hero of your own story. Yeah. Exactly. And you live a life that's beautiful enough to want your own autograph. Yeah. But then you also have the humility to not think that everybody needs it.
Exactly. And that's not to disregard, people who do want to be politicians, because I will admit, I do want to go into politics. But,
What is it? Why? Why do you want to go into a profession that it
so
consumes,
evil, brutish, nasty,
and it's so disgusting and dirty and vile? Like, to me, that's like saying I want to go into a cesspool of the most evil, like, hookers and drugs, but it sounds funny, but literally politicians are synonymous with drugs and thieves and liars and hookers and pedophile islands and all this other crap.
So
why do you want to be a part of that world?
So ever since I started to read. What has really guided my journey into being a Republican, mostly being politically engaged, is I started in high school. Was when I first started learning about politics, is when I also started first reading maybe some political theory and ideas about how politics should work. And ever since then, I realized that my duty as a person in this country, as a citizen in this country, is to be able to help those who need it the most. And I do not think that can be done in any other way than in being in public service and actually serving the people who most need it. This is why I am personally, even at my age, seriously so for transparency laws. It's maybe too ideological because it'll maybe never pass. Like we're in such a big swamp right now.
There's too many skeletons for them to hide.
Exactly. But I would love to pass a transparency bill because I have nothing to hide. And that's probably a minute amount of people who are currently in office who are going to say, yeah, okay, I'll be okay with that. But ever since I was in high school, I said, you know what? I want to be able to help my fellow man, my fellow community. And I want to uplift them to the best of my ability. And how do I do that? And my vision is to be able to say, you know what? And look them in the eyes the way I am even you right now telling you to get involved is I'm going to serve you. I'm going to tell you personally what I am doing and what I'm not doing. This is what I stand for. This is what I don't stand for. And if you don't stand, and if you believe at that time that you disagree with me, great, disagree with me and tell me why. Like we were saying earlier, there's an objective truth and there's my truth. To me, the objective truth is obviously objective. It's the true, it's what we always strive to get to. And if someone can guide me to that, and it's because someone's telling me to my face because I represent them, perfect, that's what I want. I don't want that person to believe what they believe in because of me. And I believe that that is the best and most dignified manner that I can serve my community.
So you're batting 80%.
Yeah.
How do you...
Yeah.
How do you... And I don't want to use the word sell. How do you convince me that raising campaign funds... Okay, I understand you need some money to get elected. You got to put up posters and radio ads and whatever it is. Yeah. So how do you do that and not become part of the swamp?
Again, let me just tell you what I told you earlier is we return to the caucus system. We return to a system of government or a system of true representation that makes it so money is not even a part of the conversation. We make it so you have to talk or I have to talk to the delegates in the area I represent. Makes it so I am accountable directly to those people. And if I win at convention, great, I'm on the ballot. If I don't, I'm not.
And is it the SB 54? That's why they don't have to talk to their delegates?
So that makes it so they still do talk to their delegates, but it makes it so even if you don't win at convention, you can still be on the ballot if you get at least 7,000 signatures.
So essentially, they don't have to talk to their delegates.
Essentially, they don't have to. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You don't have to if you don't.
So here's the answer I was looking for.
Yeah. Okay.
And I appreciate the caucus system because you're saying accountability, which I think is essential. But it's transparency.
It is.
So if you raise campaign funds, I don't care if it's a Buffalo nickel. You've got to show that money.
It's perfectly fine with me, actually.
And your bank account is literally, people can go online at any time and see where the funds come from, who's paying the funds, and what their expectations are for the funds.
I'd be completely for an idea like that, where it says no matter who I received the money from, or that be a nickel off the street from a guy, or $1 million from this super PAC, I have to show it.
Yeah, it's just right there. I type in your name, I go online, and I see, okay, here's his bank account, here's all the companies that have contributed and the people, and this is what they want to happen.
Because that's the problem is money talks. Money talks in politics like no one's business. If you give someone
it doesn't
money,
talk. Money is the leash that drags the dog.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. The money tells you whether you're going to vote yes or no on a bill. And if people see that you are voting no on a bill that's going to actually help them because someone gave you funding from something else and you disagree with them, great, that person should be out of office.
Yeah, and we should have a way to not wait to get them out of... I mean, there is, but it's so hard to get a politician out of office. It's like someone from the TSA trying to fire a corrupt police officer. Yeah. You know, one of my best friends is a cop, but he even says there's tons of bad cops too. Tons of good ones, tons of bad ones, and he said... It's just hard to get fired for committing any kind of crime when you're working for the government.
Yeah, and that's when, again, I say if we have many of these things that you and I are saying, I think it is significantly easier to be engaged that way. If it is easier for you to see what bill is being passed and what bill is being put on the floor by Congress or by your representative, if you see what they're transparent, who they're getting funded by, if they are forced to talk to you in the caucus system, that makes it so the representative is genuinely accountable to you. And not the other way around. That makes it so even the person who's working 12 hours a day, just pull out their phone and see, oh, okay, my representative is doing this. My representative isn't doing this.
Yeah, we definitely need better systems and apps for people to be involved.
And so I think I'm forgetting his name now, but there's a representative right now running as a Republican here in the new District 1 in Utah. And he's actually saying that he's like created an app where people can actually track what bills are on, and he's going to vote yes or no depending on how the people vote on the app, which is first, I doubt he wins. I don't think he's likable enough from the things I've heard of him, but that's a phenomenal idea, by the way.
I love the concept,
exactly.
But it's still digital, which can be distorted. I mean, we watch ballot harvesting and all kinds of crazy voting machines that were doing wild stuff. And it was funny because people were like, no, they told us these systems are great.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they also said that there were nuclear weapons in the Middle East.
Right.
And they were sure of it.
Can't trust the government.
Tens of thousands of people died because they were sure of that. And you don't think they can take a 1 and a 0 and change around an algorithm? You don't think that they can change around a voting system with some backdoor system that can go in and change the code, change the numbers? Yeah. Just the concept of that's such an easy concept to understand that corruption exists everywhere, including in computer programming. That being said, the intentions are correct, but there's got to be a more accurate way. So let me tell you one of the ideas I've had. So you have your districts.
Sure, yeah.
Each district could have, and it sounds archaic, but you have to have a transparent way of doing this, right? We can zoom in. They can go from outer space and zoom in, look over your shoulder and read the paper that you're reading and blow it up to where you can see the pixels. If they can do that from outer space with just a sec, they could do that 20 years ago. Yeah. Imagine, and it's going to sound kind of silly, but just go with me on this ride for a minute.
Listening.
Imagine if your district, let's say you call it a neighborhood, and on every American citizen's home, they have the option to have, if they're Republican, a blue light, if they're Democrat, a red light, if they're Libertarian, let's say a white or neutral light. And that evening, that's a voting period. and everybody can literally push a button, and that light lights up. A photograph is taken. AI can use it, whatever you want to do, but a photograph is taken of that district, of the lights that are on or off that night, depending on the color.
Okay.
And then a computer system can quickly read it. But here's the powerful part. That image that's been taken, it happens in real time. The people get the image too. So if you ever wanted to challenge it, they could find a way, right? You could do it by neighborhood blocks, but you could just count the number of blue lights in that neighborhood or in that district, or the number of red lights in that neighborhood or that district. Now it gets harder in a city, right? Or there's an app like you're talking about. Oh, now I'm realizing the flaw of it in a city, because with all the skyscrapers and all the people living in apartments, it gets a lot more difficult. But some kind of concept
That's very
where, I mean, the voting system is really the mail-in ballots or the in-person voting. It's the healthiest way.
It is.
Because anything but your signature can easily be corrupted with modern technology. Is that a fair statement?
No, that's 100% fair. If we're going to talk about voting, I think that the best way to do it is in-person, paper ballots the day of. Should be a national. I think that honestly to this specifically is make voting the day of the election a national holiday or federal holiday, whatever have you. Make it so people have to go in person and paper ballots. No one can tell you how secure it is if you see you write in who you want to vote or bubble in whatever you want to do, and you put down exactly who you
require the employers to pay for that day, but the pay is dependent upon them voting.
Yeah, exactly.
All you have to do to get paid is vote for that day.
Yeah.
You just have to prove that you voted. Because for me, I would absolutely pay for anyone that works with me to have the entire day off. I've done similar things. I had a guy going through some mental health issues, and I said, "You need a day. I'm going to pay for it all. You need to go take some time and figure out what you want to do and where you're at."
I think that would do numbers to the amount of people who can or want to go vote.
But see, these are solutions that could work.
Yeah.
But why don't these kind of solutions ever take effect? Well, because it would expose the corruption.
Exactly.
And the monster, how does it protect itself? This is pulling the armor off.
Yeah.
The armor is corruption, greed, money, power, lust, anything. The 7 deadly sins, that's our politicians.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we can maybe go into this further if you want, but I am very, very, very confident that my generation will do things when it comes to politics that we have never seen before in this matter. I do, as someone who's involved on campus, and I know everyone from communists to libertarians who believe that there should be literally no government. All of them say we need transparency. It doesn't matter if it is the most far left radical, far right radical.
I love to hear that.
All of them are saying we need transparency in government. And that is I can tell you that is the greatest common ground I have found on campus. Every single Democratic debate is, yes, we need transparency in government. Not a single Republican on campus that I know or who is on my board or who I've met across the state of Utah who is a college Republican will tell you I'm against transparency. All of them want the transparency because we've seen what's happened. We have seen 40 years of the same politicians doing nothing. We haven't seen conditions better in the last 20 years.
100 years of corruption.
Yeah, we have seen things gone significantly worse, gotten significantly more corrupt. Guess what? We're the generation who's seeing this and saying we need to abolish this idea of you get privacy if you're a public servant. I'm not even joking. It's kind of crazy when I tell you this, and you have to trust me. All of them across the board say we need transparency.
You guys say it, the younger generation.
Yeah.
Not the older generation.
There was a handful who say that because a lot more of them they believe more in the privacy rights side of things. Honestly, majority of the time, if I start talking to someone who is of older age and engaged, they say, yeah, we need more transparency. But I think it's one thing to see a generation where the culture is, yes, we need the transparency, and a culture who was maybe raised with, it doesn't really matter.
Well, and I love that. And I've seen that same energy from all the younger politicians that have come on, that they want this change and they're realizing that their future is screwed unless they get involved.
Exactly.
Because what happened in my generation, the generation before me and after me, the handful of generation, the boomers, I was too young to understand what was happening.
Exactly.
And by the time I was old enough to realize it, it was already too late.
It's screwed.
It had happened. It happened on, and I can take accountability too. It happened on my watch too, But I was young. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And I grew up, I mean, for me, graduating, internet was basically just starting out. There were no cell phones.
Yeah.
They were so good at manipulating information and making it inaccessible. But guess what? They are even better at it now.
Yeah.
So if you were to say, what are the top three things? What are the top three things for younger individuals to do to get involved in politics? What are the top three? Yeah, what should they do? Give me three. That they can do, though. You have to be realistic.
No,
you can't just say,
100%.
get involved, go out and do it.
No, yeah.
How? Give me things that I can do, people can do.
Yeah. One, I would say instantly reach out to your state or Senate representative in the state house. Instantly, I would say to reach out to them.
Okay, but that's so amorphous and out there. How? What do you do?
So you can, all of their numbers are publicly available online. All of them. You can literally just go online, look up utah.gov, and you can find your representative's number. You can contact them in whatever way. Tell them you want to get involved. I cannot tell you, I can guarantee you, every single representative will say, oh yeah, I want to volunteer. That's something you can do, grassroots organization right there. And let's say you don't want to get involved with your state rep because you don't like them.
Well, let's pause real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
So number one
Yeah.
is get their number, call them.
Yeah. Call them, text them, email, whatever have you.
Okay. Who are they?
Yeah.
Most people have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
And even if they know who they are, how do they find out the information about contacting them directly? Is it as easy as, is there a site where you can just say, I want to learn more about the Republican Party, and then there's 10,000 things to click on.
Yeah.
There's all these delegates and systems. There's all these people campaigning.
Yeah.
There's all these ideological beliefs. That you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It gets you just get lost.
Yeah.
And the bureaucracy, you get lost. It's just like social media. They're blasting. It's not like a fire hose blasting you. It's like when they open up a dam and it sounds like a jet engine.
Yeah.
You're getting hit with that much information.
Sure.
How does the average person come home from work? They've got 3 kids. They've got violin practice. They've got wrestling practice for a kiddo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They're trying to make dinner your sweetheart, right? Yeah. You're trying to pay your bills. You're trying to, then you have to go to a part-time job. How does that person navigate all that? You see what I'm saying, though?
Perfectly.
It's so frustrating because you want to do it.
I get it. So if that were the case, the biggest thing I would do is contact whoever your delegate is. Now, that is significantly harder to get because you have to already be involved in the caucus system to know who that is. But I would say that in Utah, at least, because I can only speak for I only know Utah, is go to caucus, learn who your delegates are, have their number and email. I'm a delegate myself. I send texts and messages and emails to older folk, younger folk, and I tell them, this is what I received today. This is who's running in my district. This is how many questions you have. If someone wants to get involved in a true way where they can find out without having to, because if you voted for a delegate, you're not the one who's actually going and digging deep into their history. It's the delegate's job. You text the delegate and say, hey, tell me more about that person. What do you know about their history and business? What do you know about their beliefs?
Because that delegate has been selected by the people.
Exactly. So that's what I would say is maybe number one for sure. Do that. And that's hard because you have to wait till caucus.
Aren't there a lot of corrupt delegates too, though?
So what we've seen in Utah is a lot of, because there's a lack of engagement at the local level, we see a lot of Democrats run in Republican caucuses and screw up the Republican platform. And this has been a common problem.
Really? Unpack that for me.
Oh, yeah. So it's very simple. What happens in these very blue areas, like let's say Salt Lake City, because even Salt Lake City has obviously caucus system for the Republican Party. Democrats go, because all you need to do is just take your family and friends. I can tell you, most of these meetings, there's on average maybe 10 to 15 people at most per precinct, when it represents over 1,000 people. Right? So that alone should worry you.
Yeah, it's like 5% of the people.
Exactly. So you can go ahead and just say, you know what, I'm going to take my 10 closest friends. They're all liberals. Let's go to this caucus for the Republican Party. I'm a registered Republican, but I'm going to vote Democrat. You go, you get elected as a delegate, and you select the worst possible candidate.
So
for the
they game the
platform.
system.
Exactly. They play it. That's politics. Right? That's just what happens. And that is a failure on the part of people not getting involved. If there were true Republicans going to their caucus meetings, that wouldn't happen. Because all you have to do is just ask that delegate, what do you believe?
Okay, but so, again, think of what you're asking. And a government that's bankrupted the financial system, and the corporations have destroyed people's ability to have a living wage, and housing crisis is out of control.
Yeah.
and the food system is broken, everybody's unhealthy, and right, so just
Yeah.
go on and on and
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
right? Diabetes,
Yeah.
autism, it's all through the roof.
Yeah.
So they're killing us, they're bankrupting us,
Yeah.
they're enslaving us,
Yeah.
and if you don't obey their system, you go to jail, or they'll make up something about you, just like the Hunger Games. What did they do to Katniss Everdeen? They showed all these images of her being this horrible person.
Yeah.
They can doctor it up in a second. If you want to destroy your life, boom.
Yeah.
They say 2 or 3 things. The average person sees it on TV, and says, "Man, who would have thought Josh Patel was a murderer?"
Yeah.
Is that not crazy?
Yeah.
And
And
it's
so,
like, I've been protecting people
Yeah.
all my life, putting
Yeah.
my life in danger, protecting others
Yeah.
all my life. But that's all they have to say. And tons of people would go, "Man, Patel's a murderer?" Because what have they done? They've gotten left and right to fight, and they have a house divided against itself.
Yeah.
Remember, the Republicans and the Democrats at the federal level are united. It's a uniparty.
more likely than not,
Yeah, it's a big swamp. They're all part of it.
Yeah.
Again, who's gone to jail?
Yeah.
Who's been held accountable?
Yeah. And so, and I think
Well,
that.
let me finish this
go
part
ahead.
of it. So if that's the system that we're up against, it's this giant creature
Yeah.
that has the power to, the second you go against it, you go to jail.
Yeah.
Or they destroy your life and your reputation. Just watch the movie The Hunger Games. I challenge everyone, watch that movie, and then just swap out whether it be President Biden that you're into or President Trump for President Snow, and then swap out the districts for the states, and then the capital for Washington, D.C., and watch the entire series with that in mind, and watch the games they play, the way they pit people against each other, and how all of their power exists in darkness, the gray area, and chaos. They don't care if you're pro-Republican or pro-Democrat, as long as you're a raging lunatic fanatic, because you're easy to control. Because check this out. I've had a Democrat on here. I said, guess what happens when you and me, let's say you were a Democrat,
Yeah.
and we agree. We agree to disagree civilly, and then we eat lunch together. Guess what we do? When we're not fighting, we can look around. I can see past you. I can see the corruption happening at the federal level, at the state level, at the county level. I can see it all, because we're not so busy being angry and full of hatred towards one another.
Yeah.
We may agree to disagree on some topics, but guess what? If we both want transparency and truth and what's best, now we can see past our vices and prejudices towards one another, and we look at the truth. That's why they love the chaos. That's why they allow crime to go run rampant. That's why they allow chaos in the major cities. Why? Because if it was peaceful and you weren't afraid and people didn't want to go out and you were barbecuing with your neighbors like in the Sandlot and talking to each other, you could notice the people behind the curtain. You could see the monster.
Yeah. And so I think, again, you're completely right in what you believe. And I think that what's dangerous, to me at least, is this idea that just because it's corrupt means I can't get involved.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, yes, we need to get involved.
Yeah.
But that single mom who's struggling with her job and her bills and kids and all that stuff I mentioned, they literally don't have time to go to a meeting in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
They're just trying to survive, because why? The chaos of the system that was created to keep them broke, to keep them desperate, and sometimes their life choices have done that to them as well. How do you make it so those people, because we're still on number one, how do those people find the delegates number easily, find out what the people believe and represent easily, and have access in a way that they feel represented, and the time that they took, where they have very little time left, and the time that they took feels like they've been heard and represented.
Again, I think the only way we can truly get to that point is by saying you went to your caucus night. And the caucus night's once a night every 2 years. It only takes up an hour of your time at most. As much as I would love to sit here and say every single person should be able to do that, some people can't. But, and there are systems in place at the caucus system to say if you're absent, you can't have someone vote on your behalf for a delegate, or you can still get the information from a friend or whatever have you. And so that's why, to me, that's important, is because if we have that in place, if we have that ability for people and we tell people actively, go to caucus night, go do that, go elect your neighbor to represent you, and then you have their number and you can actually ask what's going on at this level. you have the ultimate form of representation. Because it just keeps going, right? You ask the delegate, and the delegate their job is to vet the candidate to the best of their ability. The neighbor, this single mom asks the delegate one day, "Hey, you know what? I'm struggling with my family, with my kids. I can't afford this. What is my candidate doing? What are these 3 candidates for this district doing for what I'm struggling for?" I think that's entirely it, and a lot of it unfortunately rests upon the fact that you need to go to caucus.
You can make the time to go to 2 meetings a night. So again, on those days, there should be a half day of work.
Yeah. You know what? I would completely support the idea of
but
in Utah
why
we make
not
caucus night. Yeah.
give the people time to participate in their country? Yeah. They're broke, they're tired, they're exhausted, they're confused, they're frustrated. Yeah. We work harder than pretty much any other country on the planet.
We do.
We're obsessed with work. The American dream. You got to have a house. You got to have you got to have 2 cars. You got to have this size of a house. You got to have all these things.
Yeah.
We need to find a way to make it so not just some people that have plenty of time and money, but everyone has the ability to participate in the democracy, this constitutional republic that we live in.
Yeah, and I would completely support an idea of let's make these nights of caucus night or midterm elections or federal elections.
Make it fun.
Make it a holiday. Make it so there's a purpose for you to go. Make it so there's actually time in your day to go do that.
I love that.
I mean, that's not something I don't think that's controversial. That should be the norm, actually.
But it isn't.
Exactly, it isn't.
And we know why.
Yeah, there's people hiding it.
Yeah, there's again, the darkness is where politics lie.
And again, unfortunately, it takes right now. That's why right now I'm so bullish on this idea. Is right now it takes the people to say, you know what, I'm fed up with this. I gotta go. I have to get involved right now. It doesn't matter what I'm struggling with. It means I have to do it right now and fix what's going on.
You can find 2 days a year to participate.
It's not even that. It's 1 night a year every 2 years where you go to caucus night and you elect someone. And at most, I think the meetings run at most for 2 hours. And that is like you're going and you're just saying, yeah, I vote for that person. Okay, you're done for the night.
And we need to find a way to make it more transparent for the delegates and all the politicians. Yeah. Because the delegate is still a politician.
I'm pretty sure most of the delegate information is available on the party websites, but that might be harder to achieve, and that should be easier.
When I've tried to explore some of this stuff, you just get so inundated with the amount of information, it's really hard to digest.
And I would completely support.
So number one, mercy, my allergies are starting to kick in. So once every 2 years, get involved in electing or go to the meeting where you elect your delegates.
Yeah.
And anybody can do that.
Anybody can do that. As long as you're registered in a party, you can go. Or
will you work your butt off to make sure that day is a national holiday?
Oh, yeah. I mean, at least in Utah, right? Because not everyone runs a caucus. I would love if it was everywhere. And if that were the case, yes, I would for sure say that. But in Utah, I think it should be the norm to say, you know what? Caucus night is either half a day of work or no work at all.
Okay.
You go to caucus night.
Number one, get involved.
Go
at
to
least
delegate.
at the bare minimum.
Caucus.
And get involved with who your delegate is.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two.
Number two, I believe, is learn who your city council person is. I cannot stress, as much as it is fun to talk about delegates and those who are in the federal government or at the county level, your city does significantly more than you think it does. Your city, like you said earlier, your city regulates who is allowing you to put up your billboard, who is allowing you to have the regulations on your house, who is allowing you to do what you want with your property and your time.
Sidewalks, infrastructure,
everything,
buildings, spending.
And yes, they get the funding from the federal government, but how that's used comes down to your council person. All it takes is a simple Google, let's take Salt Lake City city council, council member or city council person. That's it. And their email and names are pretty accessible.
And they're usually very wealthy.
They're usually very rich.
Yeah.
They're usually very rich.
Yeah, the vast majority of the time.
And that's all it takes is finding out who that is. And now you would even argue like a 2B is tell everyone that you know in your friendship circle or your neighborhood and whoever lives around you and in Salt Lake City, go tell them about this the city person.
I like that. Get to know who your politicians are, especially at the local level.
Because guarantee you 99% of people cannot even name one of their
Yes,
city council.
I cannot name a single city council member. I've talked to them. Some of them, I've yelled at them and told them they're corrupt pieces of crap.
Yeah.
But I can't remember any of their names because they're just these wealthy folks who, again, they sit on these ivory towers.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
don't
they just literally they're judge, jury, and executioner for the finances of your city.
Yeah.
Is that a pretty fair statement?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I really like that because that's something that's digestible. Get to know who your city council people are, and talk about them. Organize. One thing I've been an advocate for 20 years.
Yeah.
Whatever the media, and the politicians, movies, whatever they say you don't talk about, you talk about the most. In my house, guess what we talk about at the dinner table? Politics and religion, all the time during dinner. All the time at family functions. And it's so funny. Most of my family doesn't want anything to do with me because they're like, oh, here he goes. He's going to talk about religion and politics. And what do they want to talk about? My new lawn. Obama got a dog one year. Did you hear Kim Kardashian's butt cheeks are bigger? Did you hear Kanye West wore a Nazi hat? What do you...
Exactly. That's the stuff that's
Steph
not
Curry. Now I love him shooting the long ball; it's impressive. But Steph Curry got new shoes. LeBron James broke a scoring record. Look what happened in the NFL. These are the things.
Yeah.
That again, remember that giant dam blasting information? That's what they're paying all these athletes tens of millions and hundreds of dollars for, because it creates a lifestyle that you want to have. The average person. I don't want anything to do with that life, but the average person's like, oh, how nice would it be to have a private jet and a private chef? And so they're so broken in heart, mind, and spirit that they're not living this dream for themselves.
Yeah.
They're celebrating the wish of having a dream. They're celebrating the wish of having a dream of someone else's life.
Yeah. And so that actually leads me to my third point, because we were getting to 3, and that is what you said. Talk about the things you don't want to talk about with your neighbors or in your family and your friends. It has become the greatest political division to not talk about politics with your friends, and it has resulted in friendships ending. It has resulted in family members not wanting to talk to each other because of their politics. That's disgusting.
Yes.
I believe that it is completely disgusting, disheartening, that you can have a friend for 10 years and they say, I don't like you now because of your politics.
How weak and ignorant a person is that?
And it's even worse when it's your family, too. That is significantly worse if you say, oh, my dad was a Democrat, so I'm not going to talk to him because he's a lunatic. Oh, my dad was a Republican, so I don't like him. That is so stupid. And I think that is at heart of the 99% of the problem is the second you start getting people talking, you start finding out who's in politics and how to get involved.
Yes.
And I think that third step, the third thing I would tell everybody is talk about the things you don't want to talk about with your family, with your friends, and your neighbors.
Have the hard conversation.
Do it. That's I have found success at my chapter at the U by doing that. We set up tables and we put up a sign that says, something like we support ICE or, anything that's hot that week. People come up to us and they're like, there's a Republican chapter here? You guys exist? And of course we get some people who just come up and they're ignorant. They're the ignorant people who come up and they just yell, fascist, Nazi, racist, and they walk away.
Yeah, the programming worked on them.
Exactly.
They are indoctrinated.
Yeah, for sure.
And they are. You should watch this video. Look up Yuri Bezmenov.
Okay.
He was killed, of course, in his 50s. He died, but all these great orators who expose the corruption seem to die when they become popular.
Right.
But look up Yuri Bezmenov, and it's like 13 minutes and 9 seconds, and it's the synopsis of what's called ideological subversion.
Okay, yeah.
And the essence of it is, he says the KGB, you think we spend all our money spying?
Yeah.
He says the vast majority of the money is not that. That's only maybe 10%.
Yeah.
90% of the money is ideological subversion, where we take over your politics, we take over your religion, and we take over your media and your entertainment. And we indoctrinate a generation to where that generation, and I know it works because I watched a white woman screaming at the top of her lungs at a black cop calling him racist for protecting another white lady.
Wow. Interesting. What? That's
And what he says is fascinating. Watch it. 13 minutes. You can watch the whole thing. It's a couple hours, but 13 minutes and 9 seconds is the video that I've shared and seen the most.
Yeah.
But he said they can hear the truth, see the truth, be next to it. It can literally be hurting them, but their mind is so indoctrinated, and this is what they do through the movies that we watch. I mean, did you know the CIA and FBI invest in major movies all the time?
Oh, yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
There's indoctrination there,
Sure.
because the way the mind works is repetition, and the neural pathway is enlarged, and whichever neural pathway is bigger, the mind is predisposed to go that direction.
Yeah.
So if you're that's why, excuse me, my allergies are killing me. If you're constantly, one thing I'm super hyper aware of with my children's computers, they're all the time, everybody's computers has little things always in the corners. Am I gay? Am I trans? Am I gay? Am I trans? And I had to tell my kids, ask the question. Are you gay? Are you trans? Yeah. I've asked the question. When I see that, I have a question. I know I'm not, but it's still, I said, of course, ask the question, and then do the work to find the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
See who you are. See what you believe. See what you think. But what they're doing is
they're just feeding it to you.
Thousands.
Yeah, exactly.
And thousands of times slipping in pro-gay. And look, I don't hate anyone who's gay. Yeah. I disagree with gay marriage completely. Yeah. I will fight for anyone's right to be gay because I'm not their God. Agency is part of living on this world. Everybody, if you're not hurting anyone, you have the right to choose the life you want to live. Yeah. That's like some people drink. Some people want to be gay. Some people don't want to get married at all. Yeah. Some people want to have a big house, a small house. It's your life. Yeah. Just because I don't agree with it, you have an equal right to disagree with me, and I'll fight for both of our right to live a different life. But we've lost our way because of that indoctrination, because of that ideological subversion, because from a young age, they teach children to read books, not books that you should be reading, the books that they want you to read, that teach you to regurgitate facts that they want you to say, and take tests, and you get patted on the head and you get a gold star for listening and obeying to what they taught you, and then saying it back thousands and thousands and thousands of times. Right. And by the end of it all, what happens? I must work 40 hours a week. I hate Republicans, or I hate Democrats. I like this type of music. I do not. Part of it is you learning who you are. Yeah. A huge portion of it is ideological subversion, where they've indoctrinated you to be just like Rockefeller designed schools to be. Look it up. Yeah. People who do not think, but who obey and work.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing is, I think my generation specifically, because I don't know how it was for you. I imagine it wasn't that bad, but now me growing up, I mean, there are plenty of videos online that say don't be friends with your Republican. Don't if you have a Republican, don't be friends with them. If you're friends with a Democrat,
be violent.
Exactly, or go hurt them. Yeah, go kill them
over a difference in beliefs.
Exactly, and
my friends literally thought Satan created the Mormon Church. I'm Mormon. My friends literally thought Satan made the LDS Church. Now, I think Mormons have tons of corruption in their church too. Why? Because humans are in it. Yeah. We don't have the monopoly on truth. There's truth in all religions. There's beautiful truth. Yeah. But my friends literally thought Satan himself created the church. And I'd be like, well, that's not true. I think you're an idiot. He's like, well, I think your church is an idiot and you're an idiot. I was like, cool, where do you want to eat? I don't know. Let's go get some Long John Silver's. And then we watch a movie and hang out. Yeah. And we just agree to disagree and totally think each other is dumb on some topics. Yeah. But we loved each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'd take a bullet for each other, literally.
And so that's the biggest difference between what I've seen in my generation is there are people, even on my campus and what I've experienced, who disagree with me and would rather have me dead than talking about my ideas in class.
Ideological subversion.
And it is disgusting. And that's why that is arguably one of the most important things. And that is, I've taken on an ambitious goal with me and my buddy on campus. And we've said, if we can change our culture, if we can attempt to change the culture on campus, we will have done our job as college Republicans. Because that's all it is break the echo chamber and make people realize that we exist and that our ideas typically are supported by data and not ideological stupidity.
I love that.
That's what we do. And that's what I would tell anyone who maybe can't do the maybe one or two that we were talking about earlier, but can talk about. Because anyone has ideas. Everyone has an idea. You have an idea about how you want to run the government. I have my idea. And we can sit here today and talk about it. And afterwards, go have a coffee. Go hang out. Go eat a steak. And that's the problem with society today is we're not having those conversations enough.
you are an impressive human being. I would say of all the politicians I've had on here so far, you've definitely had the most energy, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying.
Thank you. You can tell I've thought about this for a long time.
Well, and to be a 20-year-old young man,
Yeah.
and to care this much and this deeply, and to put yourself out there,
Yeah.
and the fact that you were on board for all the things that would make politics suck, a life of service, transparency, no fame, no money. You might get fame, but you're not going to get money and power.
Yeah.
And the scenario that I was describing with the five rules for being an ethical and honest politician.
Yeah.
If you really live that, I wouldn't just vote for you. I would fight
Exactly.
for you to win, because I think you would be a good representative of the people and my ideals and values.
Exactly. And that just comes from years of study. I mean, like, maybe in the last 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years, I've spent so much of my time reading, and you find out that what people don't have in society is the true righteous leader. What they have is someone who can appeal to them and someone who can say that they want to do it, get it done, but won't get it done. All it is rhetoric. That is 99% of politics, and that's why I think that involvement completely destroys rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
Because what someone says and what they do are two separate things. And if we have the ability and the transparency to see what they're doing rather than what they're saying, because anyone can say, oh, I want to make life better for everyone, but then they actively go against that, get them out.
I agree wholeheartedly.
And that is what I have seen happen, and that is what's literally driven my idea is I want to make, again, I completely agree, as a politician is a servant of the people and no other way around. Your life should suck because you are a servant to the people. It shouldn't be.
Is that not what Christ did?
Huh? Oh, that's exactly.
He suffered. He washed their feet. He lived a life of service, and he was the greatest among all. But he based himself to the lowest level, and really the highest level is what it really should be seen as, but not as far as society was concerned. Yeah. And his life was a life of service. And a life and a sacrifice and love for others. Yeah. And so that's really what a politician should be.
Exactly.
And it was once.
Exactly. It was at some point. And again, that's why I think it's involvement, because what we saw in the early times of the American Republic was a high engagement and low tolerance for people who are just going to say something and then act a different way. There was like zero tolerance back then. People were saying some absurd things. Thomas Jefferson and John Adams hated each other as both sides of the coin. One who wanted more federal government, one who wanted less. They called each other disgusting things. But the people were completely unaffected by it. They had just walked out of tyranny. They had just fought for their freedom. And they're saying, no, we don't care about what you're going to say. We care about what you're going to do.
Because they weren't as good yet at manipulating their minds.
Exactly, yeah.
Because they lived on farms. They lived amongst each other. They had to work together. Exactly. They had to come together to protect themselves from danger. They had to survive by farming together and building buildings together. And because there was community.
Exactly.
Right? Because there was community, the people understood that if that politician said something bad about this group of people, they're like, dude, we go to church with these guys. Exactly. I play on a team with these guys. No, they're good people. Yeah. Even though we disagree politically, they're good people.
And so that's what's happened is we've completely disconnected the community from politics, and even more so the people from politics.
And that is always the goal of every government, is to get the majority of the people employed by the government, more by the government sector than the private sector. And two, is indoctrinate and anger and radicalize the people. Yeah. Because those two extremes, the radical left and the radical right, how often do you hear about the moderate 80%? Everything is extreme left and right, because, again, in the extremes is the control.
Exactly. And that's the thing is that only happens when people become so disconnected from politics. Like I truly believe that the system of government that we live in now that is so corrupt, so evil, like you're saying it is, and I don't even disagree with it, is because we have a lack of people who are engaged. We have allowed ourselves to create corrupt politicians at the local level who then work their way up the ranks. That's why we never hear about the guy who was knocking doors and actually won his race become president. Because we're so disconnected. We don't care. Yeah. And on top of that, because we don't care, we've created, the government has been able to create a system that actively feeds into that system. Like you said, indoctrinates, brainwashes, and allows people to keep thinking, oh, it's all right, it doesn't matter. When the reality is, oh, no. It should be the straight line. Now there's about 50 going every single direction that you can even imagine that is circumventing what people want. And we have got to completely change that. And again, I believe that Gen Z will do that because everybody I have literally talked to who cares about politics on campus has like the exact same idea. It's transparent.
You're giving me hope, man, for this younger generation. I'm fighting for it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to expose it. I'm doing everything I can as often as I can. And it is definitely an uphill battle.
Oh yeah, and that's
I mean, we're literally. It's not like Rocky versus Ivan Drago, right? We're going. We have like a toothpick, and a thumbtack for a shield, and they have like a nuclear arsenal and Godzilla and King Kong wrapped in armor, right? With all this strapped to their backs, crushing our cities, and we've got to find enough thimbles and toothpicks to. Right, it's Reapy Cheap from Chronicles of Narnia taking on Godzilla. It's crazy.
That's a
the,
lot.
the how skewed the power and balance is.
It is. It is, and it's and that's really what's motivated me and a lot of my younger guys that I know. Like you had on Tyler, you know, he was a great mentor, and his politics are
Tyler Boyles.
Yeah,
yeah,
a little different than mine, but Tyler's a great guy, and the college Republicans are true conservatives who really believe in a lot of what I'm saying. I would confidently say that I represent most of those who are on my board at the University of Utah.
Daylan, I want to tell you this. I'm not 100% sold on you or any major politician yet. That takes more time.
Yeah.
But here's the reality, and here's where I'm at. If a politician will truly agree to those 5 rules of an honest and ethical politician, I don't just believe myself, but I believe anybody would get on board for a politician that would, in writing, publicly agree to that life. I think the vast majority of people who want to get into politics would disappear.
Oh, for sure. That's not even a debate. Yeah, we'd lose a lot.
Well, you take away. Well, what are the 3 things politics offers?
Money,
power, and fame.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what politics has become, and it shouldn't be that way.
Let's wrap up with this. This has been fun.
Yeah, no, this is a great time.
You're super sharp. You're well read. Again, at 20, you're doing awesome. I don't like the Ted Cruz boots and jacket. We'll have to work on that.
Aww.
But I'm just giving you a hard time. But here's, dude, I can't say anything. I'm a hobo. I look like I'm homeless half the time. But here's where I'm at, stud.
Yeah.
If you can show me a way to where the community can get more involved. And I will help you with my billboard. I will help you in a ton of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I packed a courtroom to near overflowing.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, that's a political way of saying it. I packed a courtroom to near capacity.
Yeah. Okay.
Near overflowing is like making small things bigger than they are. But
that's a good point.
I know how to activate people. I know how to get them involved. That's awesome. It just seems like with the older generation, they just feel like that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
And if you can find a way to make it easy and enjoyable to get together, whether it be a barbecue, whether regular activities to where people can get involved with their politics, and you do presentations. I'm building an event center at the back of the building.
Nice. Okay, yeah.
You'll have a big screen. I will help and let you use. I'm putting a huge digital screen on it.
Yeah.
I don't even know the name of it, so I'm not doing this for promotion because I don't even know what I'm going to call this stupid thing.
Okay.
It's a dream project because I love music, but I don't like crowds. And so this is a way for people to experience beautiful music but not be in these huge crowds. But, gather together.
Yeah.
I'll let you use the facilities. If you're gathering people together and helping me and the community hold these politicians accountable, hold these city council members accountable.
Exactly.
But we've got to find a way. You've got to find a way, and me. I want to help.
Yeah.
I don't want to put it all on you because it's just as much my duty as it is yours and every American citizen. Yeah. We have to find a way for it to be, I wouldn't say easy, but find a way for it to be digestible, actionable, for people to get involved again. Find a way for them to do their civic duties, do their duty as an American citizen, and just get involved. That's I'm trying to think of the right word.
No, I get
but
what you mean.
Make it, what's the word? Not easy.
Accessible. Easy.
That's
what it is.
That's the word. Good job.
All it is.
Politicians always got the right words.
All it is, I think, is you just tell people about it. If you
no,
have the
that will not work. I'm just going to
Really?
stop you. You can tell as many people as you want, People hear about this stuff all the time. I'll give you 2 quick stories. I had 13 men, military men, business professionals, successful men, patriots, did a presentation about this country. They were pounding and I showed it from the left and the right. I said, this is just the truth.
Yeah.
They were dropping F-bombs, pounding the table. And I said, look, I'm not going to babysit. I don't want to run it. I'll support any one of you. But if no one wants to do it, I will do it. I don't want to do it, though.
Yeah.
I feel like any one of you could do it.
Yeah.
13 men, nobody showed up to the next meeting a month later.
Yeah, that's about right.
Next time, 12 men a year later, because I said I'm not going to try that again. I lost faith in men, because what were the excuses? My wife doesn't want me to leave for an hour.
Yeah.
The game is on. I have friends coming in to hang out. You just dropped F-bombs and we're pounding the table, literally yelling at the future of this country and how it's going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
And
so
within a day, the ideological subversion, the indoctrination kicked back in, and they were focused on, what did William Cooper say? They were send them to the circus, chariot races back then, football. Back then it was chariot races and gladiators. Today it's football and basketball and NASCAR. Yeah. Don't remind them about the horrible life that they have. Give them little moments of pleasure that way when the time that they have to think and to choose a better life, they're distracted by wanting to have someone else's life.
So something that I have found that works a lot with the younger people that I know is you tell them what's at stake for their future and their families. And I don't know how effective this would be for you. If I told you directly right now, what you do with politics and what you don't do is going to have a direct impact on the future of your kids and your family.
Which is why I'm doing this.
It is directly what's going to happen. City council, county caucus, whatever have you, that will have a direct impact on how you live your life. Because I don't care what's going on at the federal level. That's fun, and we can talk about that. But if we can't even talk about what's going on locally, you're not even going to understand what's going to happen 10 years from now, 5 years from now. What's the city planning? Do you know? Not many people know. To me, it's telling people, because the step one is getting people to talk about it. Step two is telling them what's at stake. If I told you what's at stake in the next 2 years in Salt Lake City was a 15% tax increase on your property, you wouldn't be too happy about that. But guess what happened? 7 of our 8 council people voted yes for that. To fund what? Pointless jails that we don't need and pointless necessities and facilities in Salt Lake County. 15% increase in your property taxes. That disproportionately affects those who are elderly on a fixed
I thought
income.
you said 50.
15, no, 15, not 50. 15, because 50 would be up in arms. 15%. Disproportionately affects old people and disproportionately affects landowners like yourself. If I told you that, right then and there you would say, I'm angry about that. You have to give an example of where someone's life is going to be impacted. And what's worked with the younger generation with mine is saying, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not those older folks anymore who are 60 or 70 years. It's not their job anymore. It's your job as a 20-year-old in college to worry about what is going to happen to your family. What is going to happen to the fact that you can't even buy a home at all in the state of Utah with a $60,000 annual average job. You can't do it. But guess what? You are the one who is able to change that. That is what we have to do right now, is say, this is what we can do. This is why you want to do it. You give someone the why, they will go instantly. And some people like yourself have the why, but haven't acted on it. And 99% of the time, again, those are the people who are best at it. I know someone personally at my chapter never wants to get involved with politics. He's almost identical to you, actually. He brings up the data, and he's so harsh with it. Absolutely hates politicians.
So would you describe what I'm doing right now as being involved in politics, or no?
I would say you need to do more.
Okay, that's fair.
I would say you need to do more. But this kid hates politicians, thinks they're all corrupt, and talks like you, and he talks about all this. I told him, hey, listen, you can complain all you want. You're sitting on the fence, though. I don't care how much data you research on your own, or however much you talk to people, or you go and expose ideas. The fact that you're not engaged is your own fault. And you have a direct say as to what happens. Guess what happened? He goes and he runs for delegate, and he gets State and County delegate. He goes, and now he has a say as to who's going to be on the ballot in Utah. That's what happens when you tell someone.
Happened?
This happened less than 3 weeks ago.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
That's what you have to do, is you tell them, this is what's at stake, and this is what you can do. That's what you have to do, is tell people how they can get involved and why it matters. You have those two, you got someone hooked. That's all it is. And this is, I think, what I've done with you, and what everyone's failed to do with you up to now, is tell you your why. And it's great that you're here telling me, and I can see the gears in your mind now shifting to, I hate every single politician. That's great. Let me get involved now. because that
Well,
extra step
it's hard,
is
right? Because
it is.
you feel hypocritical.
It is.
Because it's among the most vile and evil parasitic relationships
It is.
in the entire world, and now you're saying I'm going to go join them, and that's what it feels like.
Oh, for sure.
From a psychological standpoint, is you're now choosing to enter the most evil, corrupt thing in existence that has harmed more people, the medical system, the food system, just the financial system, the housing system, run the gamut on all of it. It's all corrupt and broken.
Exactly.
And you're saying now, go be a part of it, and this is the change. And so what I'm seeing, and what I like what you've said is, be a light in the darkness.
It is. That's
because it is dark.
It is.
And that's how I've always seen myself, and people who I've had a lot of respect for. Is there's Gordon Allred was his name. Is a beautiful human being. 17 kids, 100 grandkids, written 20 books, 5th-degree master martial artist. He was a professor up at Weaver State, and he was. I've always pictured darkness as always trying to consume the world, which it is. And there's these men like him, who they just exude so much love and goodness that it's like this giant pillar of light that's constantly shooting this pillar ray that's keeping the darkness at bay. But there's just so few of them. And when he passed on, it was almost like I could feel I would even say seismic, a stellar shift in the universe, that someone who, and again, he was a professor.
That's what it is.
Lived a pretty humble, quiet life. You'd never know. His fighting stance was like this because he could block back and forth. He could still bench 200-something pounds at 80 years old.
Gosh, wow.
Bald head, just some glasses. That's probably why I liked him. But just a beautiful human being.
Yeah.
And again, it was like a cosmic shift in power of darkness and light, and people and I feel like I've been fighting against darkness and bullies, but your challenge to me, if I understand it right, is you've been fighting bullies and bad people and corruption all your life, but the one thing that you should probably be fighting the most, you're not.
Yeah, go have a seat.
I'm talking about it, I'm fighting against it, but do more.
Exactly. And that's all it is. And like you said, the difference between the way most people imagine politics and the way it actually is the fact that you actually have the ability to enter and exit that world. You have the ability to say, yeah, I'm going to take my agency and go fix what I see is wrong. And if you don't like it, if it's so wrong for you, so bad, you can step out. But if you're someone who's truly fighting for it, you're going to go in there, and you're not only going to get in there, you're going to bring in 10 more people with you.
Well, remember where I talked about the objective truth is here?
Yeah, exactly.
To be blunt, I hate what you're saying with all my heart. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah,
it's just true. I don't have to like the truth. Yeah. The truth isn't meant to be loved or hated. The truth is meant to be embraced.
Exactly.
Regardless of the consequences, the objective truth is always going to be that.
I agree. That's exactly, and that's the number one thing I hope anybody takes away from this, and even yourself, is go get it. Nobody understands the true power that every single individual has in politics. I feel, and you've expressed this to me, is yes, we're disconnected, and yes, we have this idea that politicians are evil, and nobody disagrees with that. But the fact that we maybe have this idea that it's so bad that we can't fix it, or it's so bad that I don't even want to get involved, I don't think is the correct way to approach it. It should be it's so bad I want to fix it. It's so bad that I want to fix it. And not only do I want to fix it, I want to make it so every single other generation after me is better off because of what I did. That's what the goal has to be. And that's what it has to become. And it's not been there. And that's why I'm so confident in my generation, those who are around my age, because we see what's going on. And yeah, there's some crazy lunatics on both sides of the aisle. But I believe that it will be my generation who figures out that transparency is the solution in politics.
What did your mom and dad do to raise this political monster that you are? And I'm saying that in a good way.
You know what? My parents actually never talked politics when I was a kid. So give a background about myself now. My parents both are from Peru. They both came to this country. My dad's been living here for about 35 years. My mom, 20. I'm now 20 years old.
You were the biggest Peruvian I have ever seen.
I think that's true. Yeah, that's what I get all the time. 6 feet tall.
Man. You were Goliath of Peruvians.
My dad is 5'8" and my mom's 5'1".
And you're
6'1".
Wow.
My grandpa was 5'4", Yeah, I'm an anomaly. Everyone who I meet tells me that. Like, dude, you're a giant, even for like a Hispanic.
Well, for Peruvian, that's is fast. Anyway, keep going.
But
we digress.
you're good. When I was growing up, I never heard about politics. My parents never talked about it. It was
What did they talk about growing up?
Really anything. So my parents grew up, or when I was growing up at least, my siblings, so I'm the oldest of three. When I was growing up, my parents really they lived the life that you explained.
Mm-hmm.
They were my dad at some point was working 3 jobs to keep a roof over our head.
Sure.
My mom was working 2. I had a babysitter take care of me up until I was almost 8 years old.
They were immigrants, your parents?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was 30 years ago, and yeah, my youth is significantly different than my siblings. I grew up with a nanny or a babysitter all the time.
That was mom, dad.
That was mom and dad. Was my babysitter. Now I love my parents. I love them to death. They're absolutely amazing. They've accomplished so much in their time, and so I was about 5 years old, and both my parents decided, you know what, we're gonna better our lives. They both went to college, and now they earn more than it's necessary for them and 5 people are living at home, me and my siblings included. And
very successful. Your mom and dad.
They've become very successful.
What do they do?
So my dad is a retail manager for a store. My mom's a doctor at the University of Utah. They earn more than they need. And they lived out the American dream.
That is beautiful.
They came from nothing in Peru, came here, worked their butts off, their tails off, followed the law, loved this country, and they became successful. And so my parents didn't talk about politics. Dream. Exactly. My parents didn't talk about politics. But when I was growing up in high school, I always had my parents. I could say, yeah, I'm proud of my parents. Look at what they have accomplished. If you think that America's so evil, I remember this was when I first started to think this. It was the height of the BLM riots, the height of 2020. I was in 8th grade. I was a young kid. I was in 9th grade. I remember kids coming to school and they're saying, I hate America. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, how can you hate this country that provides so many opportunities and that literally created my parents and made them rich? Made not only, yes, maybe I have suffered a little bit as a kid, but my younger siblings do not have to worry at all about their lives right now. My siblings love my parents. I love my parents. They accomplished so much. And I remember arguing with this kid. I'm like, how can the U.S. be so evil? How can you believe that that's true? That was my awakening point. And was in my freshman year of high school was my awakening point of what is going on in this country. And since then, I've been involved. And so I literally never asked my parents about politics ever, actually, up until I could vote this last time in 2024 for Trump. That was the first time I ever asked my dad, what do you believe in politics? So
how did they feel when you voted for Trump?
Oh, my parents were ecstatic. My dad has never voted for a non-Republican candidate his entire life since he's been a citizen in this country. Same thing with my mom. Both been Republican and both have only voted Republican since they've come into this country. And you know my dad
and
told
your
me
mom's
when
a
I asked
professor?
him,
Or a doctor? Like a medical doctor?
Medical doctor.
Oh, medical. Okay. I thought you said she was a doctor at the university or something like that.
A doctor as a medical doctor at the University of Utah.
Okay.
She works there. But, I asked him, I asked my dad, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump. What do you think? And he was like, oh, I love Trump. He was like, every single Republican that has ever run actually cares about this country. Mm-hmm. That was the first thing I've ever asked my dad about politics in my entire life.
Version 1.0 Trump was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
This new version of Trump never talks about God, never his patriotism beholden to the Israeli machine and the war machine. The war hawks got a hold of him. Yeah. It's just he became George Bush, right? George Bush 1.0, 2.0. He's George Bush 3.0.
I would agree. It has been a little bit of a disastrous ride so far, and it's just, but. Yeah, that was my politics. My parents never said anything about politics to me. I learned about my own politics by myself.
So what was it that something in you said, did you hear something? You said you had the BLM, and so it was the negative impact to every reaction, right? What is it, the third law of thermodynamics?
Yes.
To every reaction, there's an equal and opposite.
Yeah.
So the intensity of hatred towards America ignited an equal and opposite reaction within you because you saw the beauty of your parents' life, and that opposite reaction was a zeal and a love for God and country like
that's exactly
you never had before.
And so that was really my awakening, and that's when I first started listening to Ben Shapiro. When I first started listening, even though I don't agree with him anymore, I started
Captain
listening.
Eyebrows.
Yeah.
Good,
seriously.
Good heavens, dude.
I know.
But, how does he not know, man?
I know.
How do you
those big caterpillars on his?
Well, they're not even some people have caterpillar eyebrows, but Dude,
massive.
that dude looks like.
They're so big.
What would you even describe?
Dude, they're just like blocks on his head. Like, they're just massive.
Yeah. He's like a Roblox or a what is that game the kids play?
Roblox, yeah.
Huh?
Roblox.
It's just
Yeah, no. And that
they're squares.
No, that's exactly it. So that was when I first started listening to political commentators. I started listening to Charlie Kirk back then, and ever since then I've been learning about what I believe and what I don't believe.
I can't quit thinking of the eyebrows.
Right?
I'm just like it's like Snuffleupagus took a nap above each of his eyes.
I don't know. Maybe there's something. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, we digress. But yeah, bro, I'm telling you, like I love the passion. I love the desire to change the country for the future. So my facilities, if you want, we can go look at it. Yeah. I'm building it right now, but this is the kind of stuff I wanted to be a part of.
Yeah. Thank you. That's amazing to hear, to be honest, because I think, from at least what I can tell you right now, is most young conservatives I know, at least at my chapter, truly believe the majority of what I believe. Mm-hmm. They are significantly influenced by this idea of transparency, of wanting someone who's elected into office who is the agent of the people and not the other way around, or not have some third goal in mind.
Yep. Do you really think, though, Daylan, that you're not going to get corrupted with money and power and fame and all the things they throw at you and try to entice you with? Because, like the military, when you move up in rank,
it's a lot.
You feel good. Napoleon Bonaparte said, I could take over the world if I had enough ribbons, meaning men will die to get a ribbon pinned on their chest for the honor of getting that adoration and that validation of service to God and country. Yeah. So how are you going to keep yourself apart from all of that? Why are you the exception?
That's been the biggest. I think that's the question I think everyone asks me when they find out what I do and why I want to get involved. Is how do you know you're not going to become part of what you're against? And we can clip this if you want.
Well, it's not how do you know.
Honestly, tell you.
Well, real quick, it's not the question. That's not the right question, though.
Sure.
It's not how do you know. How can you prove it to me that you're not one of them? Do you see the difference?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Because how you know is just words.
Sure.
How can you prove it to me and the people of Utah and America
right now?
Because I believe you're going to go places for sure.
And what I'm doing right now. One of the biggest things that I've done right now is I've committed myself to the three things that I told you. I not only engaged people into caucus. I told people and got engaged myself into caucus. I told people the importance that it is to be involved and started getting people talking at my university. I did. And the last thing is I personally have maintained transparency with my own people and my delegates my precinct and people that have elected me to do my delegate job. Even as a president at the University of Utah, I tell anyone who's on my board, and I hold this true to my heart, is I will literally step away only after 2 years of doing this because someone else should do it. And I don't want to become part of this and be the only person who knows how to do it. I have told people, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you an assignment. I don't care what you do with it. I hate micromanaging. That's kind of the way I've managed. I don't like micromanaging because I don't like to be micromanaged myself. So the way I've kind of managed the chapter at the U is, you know what? I have someone over social media. You do what you want. If you want to bring someone on board, do it. I don't really care. Unless you post something absurd, I'm going to get mad at you. But I'm not going to control you. Someone who outreach, someone who tables all the time. I tell these people all these things, and I'm like, just go have fun. Go do it. You know what? And I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. Every single thing that I'm doing at the state level, they know. My neighborhood members, I send them letters or emails. I send them messages as to who messaged me. And I told them the other day I got offered a dinner by one of the county sheriffs who's running in Salt Lake County. And I told him, I'm not going to take your offer for dinner. You're really going to, I literally told him, I'm not going to accept your offer for dinner. Why would I? And that's me coming from the heart is, why would I ever go out to dinner? And why does it require me to go to dinner with you to get your vote? Why can't I just call you, ask what your policies are, and vote for you at convention? I asked him. I didn't ask him that, but that's what I was thinking. And that's what I told.
The logic. I see what you're saying. I see the logic on both sides, though.
And that's what I told my neighbors was, hey, look, this person reached out to me. I told him no. And I learned about his politics, but I'm a little skeptical if he's willing to ask me out to dinner to maybe get my vote. So that's what I've done at least right now.
What is the no, and it really is a slippery slope, right?
It is.
Because 80% of communication, depending on the study you read, 90%, it's always above 80, is metaverbal communication.
It is.
So you can talk on the phone, but like you read a text, how often have you read a text?
Yeah.
And this is, I guarantee this happened to you, where you read the text, you're like, why is that a-hole talking to me like this? And they have no negative intentions.
Yeah.
But when you're in person, you can get to know one another.
Yeah.
What would be the harm of meeting with them? What was your hesitancy? Out of
My
curiosity?
hesitancy was the fact that he offered dinner, to go to a restaurant.
So if it wasn't dinner,
If it wasn't restaurant, if he said, you know what, hey, like, I want to come over and talk to you, I would have been perfectly fine with that. Or if we're going to meet up
he
somewhere,
was giving you something for the meeting.
He was giving me
So
something
now,
for the meeting.
because when
So
you're
there was
given
a perverse
something, there's a
incentive
debt.
exactly. There's
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I took you out to dinner. Why didn't you vote for me at convention?
Okay.
And I'm like, well, no, I didn't like you. But no, I get what you mean, and that's actually very important. So something I plan to do with my at least my precinct is to, after convention, is have a miniature town hall and bring up my delegates. There's 3 or 4 of us, and say, hey, you know what, neighbors, hey, come talk to us and find out why we voted the way we did and who's going to be on the ballot. That's what I plan on doing, and that's as transparent as I am. Even at the University of Utah, I tell my members and even my non-executive board members, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what we have been doing. This is what the plans are. This is what we're planning ahead.
Let's wrap it with this. What are the top 3 things that you want people to remember about you? Not the get involvement side of things,
No.
not action oriented. What is it about you that people should hear and understand about Daylan?
That's a good question. One is that I'm very morally founded on my beliefs. I've spent so much time reading and understanding things that, I can go on a tangent about this, but it is, people say that if you're smart, it's because you believe in the nuances. But what you realize is in the nuances, there are logical fallacies, which is what leads most people to say, oh, well, conservatives are dumb because they believe in the extremes. Like you said, no gay marriage, or to some example, free markets, or there's a myriad of examples that conservatives are very completely on the one side and won't even accept some nuances, or abortion is a big one. To me, though, I will tell you that all of my ideas, political, moral, philosophical, are all grounded on not only what God believes that we should do, but also I believe completely and will only hold myself to the accountability of my moral foundations. I will not deviate from them. I haven't deviated from them. I will not take any monetary compensation, anything like that when it comes to that sort of stuff. Second, I really want people to take away from me that I'm young. I think that most people, I think if I were to run for office today, there's a strategy from I've heard from some folks is don't tell your age, because people won't vote for you if you're only a 20-year-old kid. I would argue that that's opposite. I would argue that because I'm young, people should remember me for that. Right now, people should know that kid is 20 years old and is saying what 99% of people in politics right now believe. That is what that kid is fighting for, and that's what he wants.
Yeah, age is a number. I've met immature people in their 90s who are out of control and just ridiculous, and I've met people who are 12, 13 years old that I'm just blown away. I'm
That's
like,
exactly it.
Well, it's just a matter of time for you're the next president. You're amazing.
Yeah, and third, I also want to be remembered for my love of America. I don't think I could, we could talk about it more if you want, but I mean, everything about the American culture, idea, and project that we have attempted to do and we are doing is so beautiful. From our founders to today, to how the experiment is running is beautiful. Although it has its failures, although it has its failures and it should be running better, America is founded on some beautiful ideas of community, of God, and of being the ungovernable, governable people.
I love it. Okay, Daylan, that was fun.
Yeah,
that was one of my. You're my favorite politician I've met with so far, and that's.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know if. I don't know if that's an oxymoron. That's like saying military intelligence or, right? Can you really love a politician so far? But here's the thing. All joking aside, I want to believe in good people.
Yeah.
And the actions, everybody can talk, but at the end of the day, I have to see by your actions, right? It's not by your words you shall know them, by their fruits you shall know them. So
I completely agree.
One thing I want to do, and I'm being serious on this, I would love to see, I want to get more involved. I listened to your advice. The higher road is about finding a better path forward, and about learning truth from anyone and everywhere. And and anyone and everywhere. It's just all around us.
Exactly.
So the event hall, I'm going to let you use it.
Okay.
And I'm not going to charge anything. We can get together once a month, and you can bring out the Republican Party, the group, whatever it is. It's on me. The facility is all of it,
Okay.
and we'll open it up, and I'll become more educated, and I'll try to become more involved.
Okay.